Let's see. Well, let's see. Are we live? Hey, yo, chat. Holla at your boy. Let me know. Let me know. We doing this? We good? The levels is good? Let's see if the chat responds. I know there's a little delay. Holla at your boy if everything's hitting up. What up, Killer Crisis? P50. Let's see. NG the Atheist. I know this is an impromptu live. Um, but let's get it going. Let's get it going. We'll wait till the room fills up because I know this is not scheduled. It's 10 a.m. in Taiwan. Good morning, P Rob. Good morning to you, Henry. Thank you for coming through. Hero Down Under. What's up? Let me know if the levels is good, if the mic is good. You guys can hear. Little by little, I'm trying to research and trying to improve the mic quality. I know how much, mic quality audio is so important. So little by little, I'm trying to put in the time to get things right and look at tutorials and stuff like that. Uh, hopefully I get it to the point where I sound like CNBC. Well, this is impromptu, so Hero Down, there's Extreme coming on. This is impromptu, so this is totally off the cuff. It was actually me deciding on whether do I make a video or do I go live. That was really the choice, right? Give a little backstory. Worked out, didn't have much planned. Wife was working today. She just got off of work. She just wants to relax at home, you know, play her little Monopoly Go. Um, so she's a phone gamer. That's why, listen, when I talk about the difference between gamers, we're all not the same. Like when they say, you know, there's no money in console, the money's in mobile. it- Dudes, console gamers, it just especially people who play on consoles that are content creators that talk like that. I personally think they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're just saying shit just to say shit. Because when I see mobile gamers, I literally live with one. Like my wife plays the shit out of Monopoly Go. Like holy shit. Like if we were to compare my play hours with PlayStation and her play hours on phone, yo, hers is in the thousands. In the thousands. No cap. No cap. At least daily, for at least 2 hours, she's on Monopoly Go. She is addicted to that. And if she's not playing that, she's like on this coloring book shit, right? But that Monopoly Go, her, my sisters-in-law, my family, my aunts, oh, they and then like they suckered me into downloading it, right? Because peer pressure, whatever, family peer pressure. I get it all in Facebook, whatever, and I downloaded it, right? I probably played maybe 5 hours worth, and I'm like, I'm not playing this bullshit because it's the same repetitive shit. You build, you roll the dice, you do Monopoly, you use the money to build houses. Once you build houses, you go to a new city. Then you go to a new city. It's the same repetitive stuff. And then you roll out of dice to throw. And then it tells you, but for 4.99, you get 10 more throws. And I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. Like, yo, I just can't. I can't play these phone games. But my wife loves it. So many people in my family love it. Yo, it's insane how they're playing. So, and that's the type of culture um, phone gaming has created. They created this easy, I call it one button gaming, where you only need your thumb or your finger, you know, pay to win, use money to get more moves, free moves, all that stuff. And that's how mobile games make a ton of money. It's a pay to win or pay to play model. Now, the reason is the culture in gaming, the phone gamers don't see that as something wrong. Like if you play a game and the game gives you 50 moves, right? Let's say like one of those puzzle games, because my wife plays those puzzles. You have to execute a puzzle in 10 moves. So it's possible, but you have to be really good in moving so that way you can pass the board in 10 moves. But let's say on the 10th move, you failed. The screen pops up, hey, for $2, you get an extra 7 moves to complete the puzzle. And people pay the $2 because they want to complete the puzzle and move on to the next stage. And people like that don't see that as wrong. We see that as wrong. Like for us, if you failed the mission, bro, that's it. Start over. But that's not their culture. Their culture is, cool, I could pay $2 and keep playing this board and pass it and move on to the next. They feel good about that. And then they pass the board in between the next board, an ad pops up. They see this little ad, they swipe up, they move on to the next board. We won't tolerate that nonsense in console. Imagine you beat a level and in between levels, you don't get a cutscene for like the move, for the game or whatever. You just get commercials. Boy, we will flip the hell out. That's why mobile gaming gets so much money because there's things that generate money we will not tolerate in the console gaming. But yet, these content creators that are console gamers, they keep pushing for this, keep pushing for it, and we're gonna get it. Keep bragging about mobile money. You don't understand how that mobile money is made. And it will be at the detriment of how we play games. We're not gonna tolerate a commercial or an ad between levels. Imagine even multiplayer. You finish around your multiplayer, now you go into the lobby and you're waiting for the next match. Imagine while you're waiting in the lobby, they stuff ads. You kidding me? You know, what up, Chris Batista? Don't give Phil ideas. To be honest, listen, these ideas isn't my ideas. It's literally how phone is. If you don't play phones, which I don't blame you, I don't either. But because of my wife, I clearly see it. I see it all, and it blows my mind. Like me, that would drive me nuts. But to her, she don't see nothing wrong with it. But that's because she's not in the same gaming culture as I am. She's a gamer for that culture of mobile games, and she loves it and she enjoys it. Yes, I seen her pay for moves and dice for Monopoly. I seen him pay for moves in Candy Crush. $2 here, $5 to Apple's here, because you can see the charges on the card. $2 for Apple, $5 for Apple, and I don't get mad. She loves it. She enjoys it. That's gaming for her. But she don't like is my shit. She don't be fucking with God of War or The Last of Us. You know what's funny? Who she really hates? She really hates Fallout. I don't know why, but she hates that little cartoon character. She cannot stand that stupid ass. She said that is the stupidest character she ever seen. This guy for this yo, when she sees this character, oh my god, she rolls her eye. She hates looking at this motherfucker. Like, yo, she sees this dude and she can't stand it. This dude right here, oh my God. For whatever reason. Yo, shout out to J. Rule. Welcome to the family. Hey, thank you so much for coming through. Appreciate it. She hates this character. She thinks it's the stupidest cartoon era character that was ever created. It's hilarious. When I bought Fallout 4 and she saw the character, she's like, "You bought another one of these stupid ass games?" Oh, yo, I don't know why she does this. Yo, it's hilarious. This shit cracks me up. Yo, oh my god, it's hilarious. Oh man, but hey man, thank you for rocking out. We got 82 people. Hey, just wanted to hit you up. But before we go through, if you don't mind, hit the like button. We will truly appreciate it. It'll get the video trending. And then also, if you would take a couple of seconds to X this out, tweet this out, do something. We'll have a conversation. Enjoying some coffee, right? Want to talk about some stuff, okay? First, So let's get to it. Let me do this, right? Let me pull this up right here. Let's do this. Um, right here. All right, let it simmer. All right, Naughty Dog. I'm not gonna go over the the news. We already know. Naughty Dog canceled Factions 2. So what am I exactly gonna talk about then? That's probably what you're thinking. Really, it's a two-way conversation between me and you guys in the chat. I need you to help me out here. I don't I've been listening to podcasts and I've been seeing people's opinions. People are talking something completely different than what Naughty Dog is saying. And I don't understand how a conversation that's totally different than what Naughty Dog said. I sound low? Hey, everybody else, do I sound low? Well, now, did it just happen? Did it change? Oh, y'all confusing me. Other people saying sounds good to me. Other people saying sound low, brother. Oh, snap. Futu said nope, nope. Nah, man, carry on. You sound fine. No, you're fine. You're good now. It was low. Okay, so maybe there was interference or something. Um, Either or, if you want to hop in, before you're more than welcome. The room is up. Um, in fact, so if you want to come through, obviously by all means. Um, more than anyone's more than welcome. Like I said, everybody got a free invite. You know, the only time I would want to talk myself, I will lock down the room and then nobody will be able to come in. That's when you know, like if you try to come in, you realize you can't. That's because I locked down the room. All right. What I don't understand is the conversation. So let me clue you guys up. And this is what I'm listening to people. So the first thing I'm seeing is people saying, did Naughty Dog not know they had to support the game that was gas? And I'm thinking, I'm going to say this again. A conversation that's being said or complaint or criticism is, did Naughty Dog not know they had to continue supporting this game? And I'm like, that's not what Naughty Dog said. Naughty Dog did not say they didn't know that they had to support this game. What they said was, normally he said no Discord. I do have a Discord, but I'm gonna be honest, unknowingly, I can invite you to it. In fact, I'll put it up, but I don't really manage it. I'll be honest, I'm a shitty Discord host. Like terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm a terrible. In fact, I usually use Discord as a method for voice to get people as a method to talk on a podcast. So if you want a link to the Discord, let me know. I'll send it to you. Um, in fact, I'll put it in right now. Hold on. But I'll be honest, I'm a shithead when it comes to that. Um, Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll put it up in the chat. There you go. It's organized. It's completely organized. It's fully set up. I just don't nurture it. Like I said, I got the house, I got everything. I just don't order food for the table. Anyway, so again, Naughty Dog. Let me pull it up so we can look at it. People gotta. That's one thing I would say is frustrating of how internet conversations have become over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Is people don't talk about what a person or company says. They interject their own thoughts and make the conversation of their own thoughts, right? It says right here, in ramping up to full production, the master scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. So if you ask the question, did Naughty Dog not know they had to support this game? You're I don't know I don't know what to tell you, because you did not listen to or understand what they said. By right of a game being gas, everyone knows what gas is, that you are attempting to create a game that will be supported for years and years to come with major content and updates to support the longevity of the game. That is literally why it is called games as a service. They knew that. What they probably didn't know, not even probably, what they most definitely didn't know, the price they had to pay to make a successful factions live service game. That is the problem. Okay. In my opinion, I think Naughty Dog felt, because they made multiplayer games like Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, and The Last of Us factions, that they thought that that was similar to a games as a service project. And I think personally, the whole conversation of Bungie going to Naughty Dog and whatever happened there, I don't think it was Bungie saying your game is trash. I think it was Bungie saying your strategy is not going to work. You cannot treat this project like you did with Uncharted 2, 3, 4, 5, and The Last of Us. In other words, there's a difference between Bungie when they did Halo 1, 2, and 3, and 4, versus Bungie doing Destiny as a live service game. Two totally different strategies, and you cannot do both. And then I think Naughty Dog were presented with two options. And that's when they realized, wait a minute, in order to have a successful factions, we now have to be someone different. We have to dedicate the studio and resources, and now Naughty Dog will be known as the factions live service studio. And you can forget about the two service games, the two single player games they have right now. So you got to look at it this way. Right now, games as a service, to make it successful, you got to sell your soul, which is your identity as a single player narrative studio, and you got to give up your two children, which is the single player games you're working on. You got to give up your babies, and you got to give up your soul. That's what it takes. That's the best, you know, explanation or best metaphor that I could put it. Naughty Dog would have to sell their soul and give up their children for fame and glory, which is a successful, and that's and that doesn't guarantee that factions would have been successful. It could flop, right? But if you're going to go down this path, you will sign your soul and your two children, give them up. And Naughty Dog was not willing to do that. They were not willing to give up their soul or their children for fame of a live service game. Then they did, for the possibility of becoming the next Fortnite, they were not willing to go that far, especially when it's not even guaranteed to be the next Fortnite. You could still fail. The cost was too great, the price too high, and they wasn't willing to go that route. Now, of course, we could talk about hindsight. Should have they ever made this decision? Of course not. I think we all agree, and I even said it when The Last of Us 2 came out, that it was a bad idea not including the multiplayer with The Last of Us 2 when The Last of Us 1 had a multiplayer. They should have just done the multiplayer and just done that. But they went for a bigger goal, whether it was because of Jim Ryan and studio execs chasing the money, which clearly, let's all be honest, that's what they did. They chased the big money because the data is there. I've done a quarterly, I did a video talking about financial quarterly. It was like 2021 I did it. And I showed you all, those who were around watching this channel, and I showed the graphs that Sony displayed of the immense amount of money live service games make. That from the perspective through the eyes of Sony, PlayStation. At the time, 60%, I even showed a pie chart, a huge pie chart, which shows the entire revenue of the PlayStation division. Every dime, every nickel, every penny. From console sales, first party, third party, subscription, peripherals, everything. Everything that PlayStation does was in that pie chart. The biggest portion of that pie chart was money transaction from live service games. It was about 60% of the whole entire pie. And then you had a big chunk in software sales, a chunk in hardware sales, a chunk in peripherals, a chunk in subscriptions. It was broken down. But the biggest part was money transaction. And when you look at where that big chunk came from, it was primarily third party. Because the only money transaction games Sony had or have is really MLB The Show with their stubs, and I guess Gran Turismo. They don't really have a lot of big presence for money transaction as a first party. Everything else came from third party, but it's third party in total. But some of the biggest players they mentioned within that 60%, number one was Fortnite. That's the king right there. As much as people talk about Call of Duty, Fortnite is king for money transaction, and we can clearly see why. They also mentioned Apex Legend. Also mentioned Genshin Impact. They also mentioned Call of Duty, and there was one more game because they mentioned 5. Oh, Destiny. They mentioned Destiny. Then they zoned in on Destiny. This was shortly after the purchase or the conversation of purchase. Since 2014, when Bungie launched Destiny, each year, and they showed this graph, each year Destiny revenue grew by 15% consistently. 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, like up to 20. 15% growth year after year after year after year. So they saw that huge growth. So Sony was chasing the money. Right? So that's what businesses do. My problem and many problem when we first heard this is we seen the failures of gas more than we've seen successes. And then when we do talk about the success of gas, it's always the older stuff. Chat, help me out here. I want you to do something for me. I want you to name me Starting November 2020, meaning the game, brand new IP came out after November 2020 when the PS5 and Xbox Series X launched. After that, name me successful, top selling, big guns gas games today. Do not name me ports, like, for example, Apex Legends, which came out, I think, in 2019, and then the PS5, Xbox Series X version got ported. No, no, no. It launched in 2019. I'm talking new IPs, a new IP for this current gen. That's a gas game, and that's the big noise now. If y'all could help me out. Because in my head, I can't think of any. I seen those that tried and had a little bit of hype, and then that shit just fell off the map. Because right now, if you ask me, the successful gas games is stuff that came out last gen, and because they're by right gas, they stay successful. Genshin Impact came out before 2020, before November 2020. In fact, because I thought about that too, right? In fact, when did Genshin Impact came out specifically? Was it? Maybe it was Genshin Impact. Hold on. Genshin Impact, initial release date September 2020. So that's when it came out. September 2020. So Genshin Impact came back September 2020. So you just missed it. So it's like the Geico guy. Ooh, we gotta be quicker. You know, I have the little dollar hanging. Ooh, you gotta be quicker than that. Anybody know what I'm talking about? The Geico dollar guy? This is y'all right now. This guy, I'm this guy right here. I got you $1. Gotta be quicker than that. Right now. I got you $1, guys. You gotta be quicker than that. GT7 is not a new IP. In fact, GT Sports technically started that trend. So all GT7 is doing what GT Sports did. It's not really that either. I want y'all to help me out here. Diablo 4? Not a new IP? I can't remember. I played Diablo 3, but I can't remember if they started with Diablo 3, maybe. Is Diablo 4 popping in terms of gas? I don't know. You guys tell me. That's why I'm asking you guys. Because I'll be honest, I can't think of a popping gas game out right now that started this gen. Every time we mention gas and we try to use gas as a logical method for Sony to do something or whatever, we're talking about old shit. We're talking about Fortnite. We're talking about Apex. We're talking about Call of Duty, Warframe.
Yo, P-Rock. Honkai Star Rail.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Pretty good, thank you. Pretty good. Honkai Star Rail is the one you're
If
looking
who?
for.
Who?
Honkai Star Rail is from the people that made Genshin Impact, and apparently it's off to the races.
Honkai Star Rail.
Yep.
Is that like a phone game?
No, it's like a Genshin Impact. At least I
It
think it
came out
is.
in April
Hey man, I don't know.
and it's popping?
Apparently it's more successful than Genshin Impact.
Honkai Star Rail success. Let's see. Honkai Star Rail speculation launch is not all good news for Genshin Impact. Wait. Well, this is September. Let me see. I don't know. Okay, Starro. Let's see. Starro suggests that it has already generated 1 billion revenue since launch in April, but after working hard to move any Genshin Impact players over to his new game, creator has found Starro to be less effective at monetizing its audience. On a portfolio level, Honkai Star Rail isn't driving incremental revenue for Miyoho, says the report. So I don't know. I'll be honest, the fact that let me see. Honkai Star Rail, what's this on?
It's on PS5 as well.
Yeah, but it's on Android and iOS.
I mean, so is Genshin Impact, no?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is though, what you call it? If you put something on Android and iOS, you're most likely going to get that huge success.
Do you want it to be just play consoles for this?
Yeah, I mean, Faction's not going to be on iOS.
Okay,
That's what
fair
I'm
enough.
saying. Like from a console perspective, like things that we play on consoles, I haven't seen much on that end. You know what I mean? That's my whole point.
Yeah.
Like from this gen, when somebody always refers to games as a service, we always mention old stuff.
Mhm.
Like we don't mention fresh new stuff as an example. We always mention hell, even Grand Theft Auto Online that came out on the PS3. We, you know, what's funny Well, even Red Dead, which I heard online was terrible, is still old. But like all the most successful stuff seemed like they came out at the right time, and because they're games as a service, which the whole intention is to keep your audience there. So if you keep the audience on Fortnite, you keep the audience on Warframe, you keep the audience on Destiny, you keep the audience on Call of Duty, you keep the audience on Rainbow Six, you keep the audience on Genshin, right? You keep the audience on Apex, the audience on Valorant, and blah blah blah. Who the hell is left to make gas games for? Like who's left? Like when you make a new gas game, who are you making it for when so many people already found their home? You know what I'm saying? Like who's this new gas game for? Is there like an audience that doesn't like is there like millions and millions of gamers that don't like any of these games? And they're waiting for that one new game that is completely different than everybody else. So that way you can capture millions and millions of this hidden audience.
You know what, Pirog? I'm actually
I
going to
don't
say
know.
yes. There are
Okay.
millions of people that don't like any of these live service games. The problem is they don't want another live service game. You see, they want the old school multiplayer game that just propose a completely different value proposition.
I agree
I
with
was
that.
talking about it in my latest video, like multiplayer games that we used to have versus live service games that we get now are completely different beasts. People think that
Hmm.
just because they both feature multiplayer that they are the same, but it is not even close.
Yes. I think that's why Activision has Warzone and the annual
Yeah,
Call of Duty because it
that's
satisfies two different audiences,
yeah.
right? It's not the same, right? Sure, I mean they kind of integrate it a little bit, but for the most part, sometimes you just want a quick multiplayer. You don't want this long, drawn out year after
Daily
year thing.
challenges,
You
weekly
know,
challenges,
you
battle
you don't want
passes,
you don't want that.
you
You
know,
just want you just
season
want to log
challenges.
on. You want to log on, go da, 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 da. You know, you know, talk shit. You know,
Yeah,
and then walk away, and then that's it. Like that's one of the things about live service game that drew me off, right? Because I used to play a lot of Destiny. Then I played Destiny 2 up to a certain point, and then I stopped. Stopped for maybe like a good 2, 3, 4 years. Then my brother-in-law's like, "Oh, you got to get back into it, whatever, whatever." I'm like, "All right, cool." I think it was when Beyond Light came out. I bought all the stuff before it. When I
mhm,
hopped on, it felt like I'm playing a whole new game now. Like I couldn't get into it. Like I had to now invest so much just to keep up because I was so lost and there was just
yeah,
so much. And
yeah,
I just literally lost the will to play because I didn't want to do that. You
yeah,
know, a multiplayer, like a basic multiplayer game, you could like, let's say factions on, you could stop playing factions for like 2 or 3 months, but you could get back into it and, get the
yeah,
ropes again because it didn't
yeah.
fundamentally change. But live service game could fundamentally be a completely different game. And it's like, I'm not trying to invest like years and months to do this. I just want to go, pa, 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 you know? I just want to
Yeah.
go and just get the fuck out.
I
You
mean,
know?
that is the truth, like these live service games not only demand your time that you stay there while you're in there, but they heavily penalize you for leaving. Like if you get off the
Oh
train,
yes.
you have to
Oh my
catch up
god.
to the train. They're like, nah,
Before
we owed you over here. You gotta run, catch up to us, which, like you said, requires so much investment of your time, your energy. Suddenly, if you were playing, like, if you were like, oh my God, I stopped because I wasn't playing games. Now you're like, okay, let me just dip back in, play with my boys. No, it's like, nah, you're giving up everything. You're selling the
yes.
house back to us. It's like going back to the casino. And they're like, yep, listen, you're
Yeah.
going in debt again.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I stopped playing Destiny 2 because I put so much time into it. And it was a great time, but I was missing so many different experiences with the single player games. So I had to make a choice, So I just started playing single player games again because I always loved to play single player games and stuff like that. But to get back to live service games, I was like, man, this is rough. Like I can't keep doing it, right? You know.
Yep.
So I'm like, this is just not for me, man. This is not for me, right? But the main thing is, and I don't know if you've seen or you've been looking at podcasts, but people are having this discussion in a disingenuous way, and I don't know if it's because they want to have it because it sounds like a better argument to have, so therefore content creation is better. I get it, whatever. But people are like, again, like I said earlier, they're one of the what a lot of complaints I'm seeing is people saying, did Naughty Dog not know they had to support this game? And I'm like, that's not what Naughty Dog said. What they said was, in order to support this game, they pretty much had to, like I said, sell your soul and give up your children for fame. You want to try
Yeah,
that
I've
shot
been,
as fame? You got to give up
yeah,
everything who you are and everything you have if you
yeah,
want to try to be successful. So pick a choice. And Naughty
yeah,
Dog said, we're not giving up our soul or our children. We're not. That's not
precisely,
going to
man.
happen. You know, and that's the best metaphor I could come up with.
I mean, I've been thinking about it, and I was like, this is the first time that I've been glad for the Bungie acquisition because they just saved Naughty Dog. Because they
I
went
think
there
so.
and they said, "Oh, you want to do what? Okay, well, if you're gonna do this, let us show you what you need to do. Like, let us show you our operations on a day-to-day basis, so that you can understand the monumental task you're trying to take on right now. Because without Bungie, they would have released this game and then found out. They would have been like, "Oh, what? So to balance the game, we need to dedicate half our staff just constantly. That's just balancing. Let alone updates. Let alone this. Let alone that." Let alone new microtransaction setups and skins and the economics of the game to make it successful. So yeah, Bungie literally just saved Naughty Dog, man. They presented them with the actual truth. They were like, this is what it takes. This is how many developers you're gonna need. You're gonna need to go on a massive hiring spree, and you're gonna need to be in conversation against the Fortnites and everything else of the world. And Naughty Dog was like, yeah, that's not exactly what I wanted to sign up for.
I completely agree, and that's exactly how would you say how I see it, right? I seen conversations of I'm not going to argue or discuss whether Bungie's worth $3 billion, right? I think that's a whole different discussion, and I'll be honest, other than what you just said, that I think Bungie did save Naughty Dog. Other than that, I don't see no value behind Bungie in terms of me as a PlayStation gamer. They're
Yep.
not giving me exclusives, right? I get no perks. The next IP is a multiplat. There's really nothing. As a PlayStation gamer, I none of us gets anything out of this deal, right? Until they
Yep.
start making exclusives or they make the decision to say, you know what? Let's say, for example, a Marathon's multiplats, but we have another game and it's going to be exclusive for PlayStation because we are with Sony, whatever. I think
Hmm.
the only thing will, and in my opinion, the only thing we'll get out of Bungie is if this whole, this situation where there's like a clause, if Bungie doesn't make a certain amount of money, whatever, then their board gets disbanded, and now Sony PlayStation has full control. To me, that would be a win for PlayStation, multiple reasons, but I think that's a conversation for another time. But as far as Bungie right now, I personally see that the only reason Naughty Dog was able to make this decision was because somebody told them, hey, we signed a deal with the devil. We gave up our children. So
Hmm.
we know the price that we paid. We're going to
Yep.
warn you when that devil comes knocking, This is what they're going to offer you. And I think that's what happened, in my opinion. I think Bungie came in, Naughty Dog having experience making multiplayer, and like what you said, multiplayer the traditional way is different than gas. Two different concepts. Just because the end result is people playing online doesn't mean the method and support's the same. And I think Naughty
Yep.
Dog, because they did Uncharted 2, 3, 4, The Last of Us, in their minds, they're thinking, oh yeah, we'll do this big multiplayer, release a couple of skins, a couple of updates, and then we'll work on our first party games, first person, story driven games, single player games. Man, it's gonna be great. Bungie came in, oh, you thought it was. Yeah,
Mhm.
you think you could do all this and still do this. You will fail. And I think that's why Bungie came in. Your plan sucks. This is what you need to do. You need to sign your soul, and those children, you got to give them up. That's what you got to do because this will not work. If you think this is just normal multiplayer, you will fail. And I think they woke up and realized, holy shit, this is what it means to be a gas development studio. And then they said to themselves, we can't do this. Like I think it's done. I think they have it. But now it's a question of do right now we're at the point of if we keep pushing, then we gotta cancel all our single player aspirations. If we want our single player aspirations, we gotta stop now. So which choice? And I think the student, not even think the studio said we're gonna stay true to who we are. And I think Bungie overall showed everyone. I don't know what you guys were thinking, but yeah, this is not as easy. Hell, Bungie does dedicate all their time to Destiny,
Yep.
and they still get flack. So
Yep.
imagine half-assing it. You know what I'm saying? And this is a
Yep.
studio that's very successful at it. And even then, they're having issues. They even having issues now. So it's not easy. So but I think Bungie came in like, listen, you guys, this is not even quality control. We're just gonna tell you, you guys don't know what the fuck you're saying or doing. You guys are so way off the map. You're nowhere near on what it takes to be a gas level studio. So sorry to break the bad news, but this is more than just overseeing quality control. You guys are just trash. Rewrite your strategy because this is not going to work. And I think that's where Sony's like, fuck. Yeah, the money's nice. Sure, the end goal of all that money seems nice, but I don't think Sony was prepared. What does it take to get there? How much you would
Yep.
have to sacrifice to get there? And me, if Naughty Dog is a good example, the one thing I am glad is that Sony did not force Naughty Dog to say no. You will continue with this gas. Screw the single player because this is where the money is. Which two things. Number one, that means Naughty Dog still has high valued opinion, and Sony as a company, PlayStation as a publisher listens. And then number two, all that nonsense saying single player is not a successful strategy. You don't make money off of single player games. Well, that's complete bullshit. Because if that was the case, they wouldn't allow Naughty Dog to, from this point forward, just be a single player driven studio. Because they wouldn't be making money if that was the case. So all of that narrative is bullshit. Single player games do make money. And
I mean,
Sony, PlayStation
listen,
values that.
I want to give Jim Ryan his flowers. You know, like this guy has been amazing for PlayStation. He has kept the company culture alive, listening to their developers and letting them ultimately choose the direction of where the studios go individually. He bought Bungie, like you said before. Before this particular moment in time, I was not happy about the Bungie acquisition. $3 billion that could have gone to sponsor 10 more, $300 million projects, which would have been the biggest projects that the biggest single player projects that um you know PlayStation could have made. um so I was like, you know what, this is a huge waste of time. However, sometimes it is worth paying for someone to stop you from making mistakes. Like sometimes it is more important that instead of someone shows you what you do right, they show you before you do something wrong what you're about to do wrong. Like how many of us will pay to have a time machine just to go back and tell ourselves one thing, like, hey, don't do this, don't make this one mistake, all right, I'm out of here, like that's it. So now I'm like, this purchase has value not because it gives me something, but because it prevented Naughty Dog from just going down a path that they were not going to be able to recover from. And number three, Sony is prepared to cancel games that they have made, that they have poured hundreds of millions of dollars into, which is something I've always appreciated. We don't appreciate how many games get canceled so that we do not devalue the experience of the gamers. Many other publishers and developers would have put out what we think of as below average quality just to recoup some of that money back. And I always appreciate the fact that Sony is like, no, if this isn't going to work out in a way that is going to, kind of maintain our quality standards, then we're just going to cancel the whole thing altogether. And I'm pretty sure that this has happened with many other studios, not just in terms of live service games, but many of the first party studios. It's just that we don't hear about it. Because ultimately, I am happy with this decision. The thing that I'm not happy about is what I always said. You should not announce games 5 years out. When they cancel Factions for The Last of Us Part 2, they should have just said it's canceled. They shouldn't have said we are working on it on the side and we're going to make its own project. No, 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 no. Tell us that when it is close to release. Just say to people, yeah, we're not making a multiplayer. That's it. That's all. Buy the game or don't. Because ultimately that's what you got. So it would have been better if they had just said that, and then people would have gotten mad and everybody would have moved on. This whole thing where they announce the game and say, oh, no, we're working on this, all that does is frustrate people now. And I always tell people, stop asking them to announce games before they know what those games are going to be, or whether ultimately you're going to receive them in the way that they show them to you.
I mean, yeah, that's a hard balance. I agree. I completely understand your point. I mean, I'm conflicted, especially now, right? Because I'll be honest, majority of the time when games are announced, they generally do come out. And I think because in the past, games were a little bit easier to make, right? So whatever vision they had in the beginning generally came out in the end. But I think now, with everything becoming so much more advanced, technology is more powerful, the expectation of games is so much bigger. You could have the intention your first year, and then by the time you hit your third year, you realize, fuck, this ain't working. So what do we do? Take for example, Avowed. Avowed, they completely changed the graphical style of the game. There is no cap behind that. Let's not bullshit or lie to ourselves. Avowed was not the new Avowed that they showed us was not the old Avowed. Now I don't mind the graphics change. I don't really mind it because I played Outer Worlds. I play Borderlands. I play games with similar graphic styles, right? So the graphic style is not too bad, especially for RPG, it's cool, whatever, right? But let's not pretend at a certain point the studio said this is not possible for whatever reason. Maybe it was the Xbox Series S. Maybe Series S said, nah, son, you can't give me this realistic. Maybe whatever happened, the studio said for whatever reason, could be a hardware, maybe timing. Maybe to make that original vision, it would take another 3-4 years, and maybe they don't have another 3-4 years. They can probably make the game quicker with that cartoony graphical style. Whatever the reason is, they made the decision to go that route, right? And like you said, when people saw the new vision, there was some complaints. Now, if they would have never revealed Avowed the first time around for a game that's not coming out anytime soon, and then revealed it as it is now and saying, hey, come in 2024, 2025, we would have not said nothing because they showed the game that's actually going to come out closer. You know what I mean? So I totally get what you're saying. And I guess I have to start accepting the fact that things are different now. That it's not as easy to announce a game 5 years out and the vision comes true, you know? Now I know there's certain cases, let's say like Wolverine, but really they didn't show gameplay.
Yeah.
So they just showed a story trailer. So now graphically, sure, that's the graphics, but they didn't show anything else to hold the game to.
I mean,
So
even
so they
Wolverine,
played it safe.
like
So they played it safe.
I'm not they're playing it safe, but even then, I'm like, you shouldn't have announced it. For me, I'm like, you got 18 months, man. Because listen, guys, this whole thing where people want the hype, like hype kills us. It's childish. I'm sorry, but I know that it's good to know what you've got. You've got something to look forward to. Everybody likes that. But when we have, these projects, like you said before, they used to take 2 or 3 years. So by the time that you announce something in the first year of development, you were like on the cusp of releasing it. Like that was basically it. Like you were always just close to that margin. Now that people are taking 4, 5, 6 years out, and gamers demand more. Like this is the thing. Like we are asking more and more from these developers. Look at what the first thing that people say when we get a sequel, whether that's God of War, Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, everything. People are like, oh, it plays just like the first one. Oh, it plays just like the first one. It plays just like the first one. So if they released if they released something that played just like the first one, but was just like a new story, maybe updated graphics or anything, gamers will panic. So we are asking for more and more and more, which takes more and more time, and we want more and more innovation. And yet we still want to be told what these games are going to be 4 or 5 years out. And I can't agree with that.
Point, because how do you take advantage with new technology, but yet you're 4 or 5 years out, right? I would think by the third, even the fourth year, that's when you truly, you know, got the game to where you want it, taking advantage of the hardware that's on, and now you can show it. But early, I totally agree, right? Because especially if a game is an alpha, definitely don't show it. No one's going to appreciate an alpha stage game. They're going to bash it because they're going to treat it as if that's the game that's going to come out, even though it's 3, 4 years out. You know, the whole thought of improving graphics and stuff. I remember when Grand Theft Auto 6 was leaked. Who remembers that in the chat? Y'all remember when it was leaked?
Yeah.
It was leaked. Somebody got the code and leaked it online. Now, keep in mind, you can clearly see that it was in the early stages of like programming because you see all the numbers coming across the screen where you have to edit and, you know, do all that programming stuff, right? The relationship, you know, diagrams and all that stuff. So it was clearly programming stage, not even alpha. And people shitted on the graphics. People were saying this is going to be the worst Grand Theft Auto ever. And Rockstar didn't show you us the game. They didn't say, "Hey, take a look at our game." Like the game was clearly not ready. Somebody got the code, probably you know one of those what you call it, the workers that are temporary temp workers, whatever contractors.
Contractors. Yeah.
Yeah, contract workers. You know, some of them are assholes. They probably got a copy of the bill, leaked it online for clout, gave it to somebody. Somebody spilled it, and then everybody bashed the game as if Rockstar unveiled it. And clearly it wasn't even alpha footage. It was development programming studio. They're just making the game, building it. And people bashed it for something that wasn't even officially leaked. It wasn't supposed to be shown. Now compare that to the reveal Rockstar did show when they wanted to show it. And you see the hype behind the game. So you're right. They chose to show it when the game is ready to be shown because you get good hype. And I don't think GTA 6 is that far off. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out next year in October. I would
No,
not be
they said
shocked at all.
2025. It's
2025, okay. So,
yeah.
well, they said, well, so fucking Craig, right? Craig did throw a loop because I did say 2025, but Craig goes, is it calendar or fiscal? And I'm like,
Okay, well, listen. If it's fiscal, they will have to tell that because the general audience, which is who they address with the
yeah,
trailer, doesn't know
true.
anything about fiscal. So it has
Yeah,
to be calendar year.
yeah.
Because otherwise you have to say that.
Yeah, you know, so it's interesting. So maybe early 2025, April, but either way, they showed it when it was ready, and you saw the positive reaction. And then there's no doubt that is the game that we're gonna get. That is that is maybe even better, right? Because who knows?
Yeah,
Sometimes the footage that they show is potentially a little bit behind the final product. So
it
you're at
always
least
is.
gonna get that.
Always
Yeah,
is.
you're always gonna get at least that.
Yeah,
And if you get something even better, oh man, that's even incredible. You know,
yeah.
you know. I would say this. So I'll start with me, and then I'll ask you. I know I said I'm happy. Maybe happy was the wrong word in terms of this news. I think the correct word I should have used was relieved.
Hmm.
I'm more relieved. So happy was the wrong word because happy means celebration. I'm relieved because now at least I know Naughty Dog is done with this gas bullshit. They don't have to no longer put energy behind this nonsense. And now all hands are now on deck to what the majority really wants. which is the single player experience, right? And this is where I find people disingenuous because everybody acts like Naughty Dog because just because they did it, that they're the multiplayer studios. They never was the multiplayer studios ever. Just because they provided it doesn't mean that's what people really want from them, right? The
Yep.
main thing that put them on the map was their single player narrative driven stories and their gameplay and how well they craft it. And that's what they're going to double down on. That's exactly what they're going to do. All hands on deck. And I am happy for that decision. What do you think? What's your view on that?
Listen, first of all, I think you're happy because this answered one of the fears, no, one of the biggest fears and concerns that you've had the entire year. So I'm sorry, don't walk it back. You just say you're
Well,
happy.
you know, I think we had this. You see my frustration. So yeah, you probably know. I just don't know how to
you're
communicate
happy.
it.
You're
But
happy. You're happy.
God
Just say
damn,
it. Just
I'm
own
just
it.
like,
Own it,
fuck,
man. You're
man.
fucking
It's
happy.
over, bro. This shit is
You're
over.
happy. You're
I'm
happy.
so, you know what? Yeah, I'm so fucking happy that this
There
gas
you
bullshit,
go.
at least for
There you
Naughty
go,
Dog,
guys. See, I got him
and
to say the truth.
I
He
need
tried to
more.
tone it down.
I need Sony Bet to come out. Hey, we got an announcement. Yeah, fuck gas. We ain't doing this shit
Yeah.
either. Like,
Hey, there you go.
I just want everybody to do a fucking coup.
There you go. There you
do
go.
just do a coup and say fuck all gas. You know, Sony,
There,
if you want studios to buy gas, buy them. Leave us the fuck alone.
yep.
And I will
Yep.
be fucking happy.
You
I
see?
would just
You
be
see? There
absolutely
you go.
happy, right? Because I have no issues with Jade Raymond Studio, Haven, Firewalk, whoever the hell, Fire Sprite.
Yep.
I don't care if Sony bought new studios to do it. That's fine. In fact, I think that's what they should have done, and that's the direction they're
Yep.
going to do. Hey, we're going to do gas, but we're going to get a culture, new culture that's willing and want to do it. But our
Yep.
guys who love to do this, just keep doing what you're doing. Because let's be honest, and I would say this is one thing that was frustrating. The only reason Sony is on the map in terms of first party powerhouse is because of them. And now you're gonna want to change them. Again, it's like my a metaphor I used on the Crossfire podcast. This was a moment where Michael Jordan left basketball, where he was the king of basketball, and he decided to play baseball. And you saw how that turned out. Like, no one gave a shit, and he wasn't that good. But now, to me, he is returning to who he is. And when he came back, he won 3 more championships. And I think that's Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog tried to play baseball. Nah, that's not going to work. Get back to basketball and come back with some more rings. Get them Game of the Years. We need you back in the Game of the Year. We're going to see you at the Game Awards. See you as a nominee. See you raising that trophy. That's Naughty Dog. And that's why I'm kind of relieved, happy, all that. You know, I don't mind
just say you're
Sony
happy,
saying,
dog.
yeah,
Just say you're
I
happy,
am.
dog. Happy includes relief. Just say you're happy.
Yeah.
You know, you might say people you're happy not because of the demise, but because you feel relief, but you're happy. Just be happy. It's okay.
Hey, so
it's okay to go against the community. It's all right.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna say something to you, right?
Yep.
Because I'm older, right? Not older than you are, because I don't know your age, but I'm saying I'm at a
I'm
point in
31.
my life.
You're older than me.
Oh yeah, I'm older. Yeah, there ain't no doubt. Damn. But
you look younger though. You look younger though.
Yeah, you'd be surprised in person. A lot of people are way off on my age. Me and my wife, people are way off on our ages.
The first time I heard your age, I was like, whoa.
You're like, get the fuck. Okay, grandpa. But I'm gonna say this because there's more to my life. I am willing. Hear me out, Extreme. I am willing to rescind the bet because I think it's safe to say we are not going to get a new single player IP in 2024.
You know what? That. You know what? I'd love to stand my ground. I'd love to stand my ground, but I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree.
Say rescind the bet.
I accept it. I accept it. As a gentleman, I accept it. As a gentleman, I accept you.
The bet's off. The bet's
off.
Cool.
The bet's off.
I feel better.
I mean,
I think if we stay on the bet, I think it's more me robbing you of your money than actually.
Yeah. And you know what? You sent me that video last time. Remember about that documentary about somebody that wanted the money taken away from them, and you told them over and over.
You saw the video.
I saw the video. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this be me. I'm not walking into that.
And that's what I'm thinking. You know what? I'm gonna be nice to Extreme because I think it's clear we're not gonna get a new IP in 2024. 2025 is the earliest. I'm thinking, let
Yeah,
me give you
they're
this
gonna need
opportunity
to
to
course
back out.
correct. They're gonna need some time. They're gonna need
They
to,
need some time to cook.
change direction. Yeah, they're going to change
Yeah,
direction.
they're gonna need some
You
time to
know,
cook. Hopefully we get. If not, I think it's 2026, 2025,
yeah.
2026. But they definitely got nothing in
You
2024.
know,
That's
what
not
this is.
possible.
This is the mom and pop store that opened a restaurant. They are in a fairly big city, not the biggest. But they're
Yeah.
fairly big, and they're doing super well. Like they're just bringing in the money. Like they put in the work, and 10 years later they're bringing the money, and then they're like, you know what? We should make this a franchise. Like that's the next step. So they
Yeah.
they start looking into it. They're like, yeah, okay, so we're gonna open a store here or there, but not just one or two. No, no, we're gonna franchise this out. Okay, so we're gonna be opening 50, a dozen plus. And then they go and talk to like somebody who happens to work at McDonald's and it's like the director of the franchise business. And he's like, okay, if you want to turn this into a franchise, here's what you need to do. And then suddenly they're like, yeah, you know what? It's okay. We can just open one or two more stores in the city, in a few more cities over the
You're
next
like,
years, and we'll stop
woo,
there. That's
you
fine.
know,
That's
you
fine.
know.
We can just open one or two more. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
ATC
it.
asked a good question. He said, y'all think Factions 2 is going to be repurposed for another game? That is potential.
I
I
don't
think
think so.
Naughty.
Let me tell
You
you
don't.
why.
All
I
right, go
think
ahead.
Naughty Dog is too protective of their stuff. Because I thought, what if they just bought another studio or created a brand new studio, which would take longer, and then they just handed them the work and they were like, here, just you guys become the live service studio. You'll be our partner in The Last of Us. We'll direct the narrative with you, and you'll just take care of this. But I just think that nah. I think what you're gonna see is exactly what they said. The lessons that they've learned from here, they're going to trickle into the other projects. But this thing as it is right now, that's never going to be shown to the public.
Now, let me ask you this. What if not Lives as a Service, but they repurpose it to just multiplayer? Where, let's say, The Last of Us 3
Yeah,
has just a multiplayer component. A little bit of co-op, some team
yeah,
deathmatch, nothing. Basically what you said. There is an audience,
yeah,
but we want the old stuff back. Simple, quick,
yeah,
not these weekly challenges, weekly battle passes. Don't
yeah,
make me have to play between the hours on Thursday, between 1 a.m. 4 a.m. You got to do this to get this little
yeah.
t-shirt. No, just log on, kill some people, some capture the flag, some multiplayer, just the old things that we enjoyed. Do you think
In a
they
lot,
could potentially go
in the
back to
Last of
that?
Us Part 3, I do see them doing that. I think
Okay.
that might be the redemption story. They'll be like, okay, we're gonna make this right with the people, because I still think the Last of Us Part 3 is not any of the two games that they talked about right now. I mean, they say more than one, so I assume two. But I don't think the Last of Us Part 3 is anywhere near the board. So I think by the time that we get to Last of Us Part 3, it will be at least another 5, 6 years from now. And then you're going to see, they're going to come out and they're going to say, yeah, well, we learned these lessons and then we applied it. But like you said, on a smaller scale, smaller scope, that isn't going to engulf the entire studio. But in terms of having something in between now and The Last of Us Part 3, where maybe they're like, hey guys, we're gonna release a standalone $30, The Last of Us Factions 2, and then here it is, and it's gotten rid of, these elements that they were going to put in. I don't think we're gonna do that because sometimes you go so far down one direction that it takes just as much time to undo what you just did than it did to build it in the first place. Like I don't think they're going to decompose and break this down and then give us a smaller package out of it because this is my guesswork. But I imagine that it was much like, I don't know, like a Destiny or something, where there was like a hub city and you were actually living in the world. You were not just browsing through menus. And knowing Naughty Dog, they would have had it to be super interactive. Like, or if you want to go and play this game mode, you have to like go and get into this vehicle as a squad, and then you guys drive there. There's a brief loading screen, then the match starts. It would have been, that kind of like as seamless as possible. You're not browsing through menus. If you want to go and play that game mode, well, you go to that side of town, and then you do this thing, and then when you come back, you have this. Like it was probably going to be what Anthem, if you remember what Anthem promised, where there was like a fort that was supposed to be like really big and really involved, and then there was an overworld where you were going to go out and have adventures into. I imagine that this is what this would have been, but even bigger and even grander because it is Naughty Dog. And I just don't think that you can just whip that out and be like, yeah, well, you guys only get these game modes. So I think that's my answer to that question. Yes, in The Last of Us Part 3, we're going to see a smaller scope. But no, we're not going to see them take what they created right now, break it down, and then repackage it as smaller. Because if they could have done that, I think they would have done that. They might just be like, hey guys, we are going to reduce the scope and we're gonna release it for you next year.
All right. Hey, I saw Blandrew. He says Port Rock mic ain't too good this episode. Man, I'm trying to switch stuff. Hey, I switched the mic. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, everybody in the audience, how do I sound now? 'Cause I'm looking at tutorials and stuff like that, so I'm trying to test out certain stuff. But it's like hard to like hear yourself. I'm gonna have to do like a live test. Do I sound better now than before, like over the last 30 minutes? Because I just switched my mic. Or do I sound the same and nothing's different to you guys? I'm gonna have to do a live test.
You know what? You know what's weird? First of all, you sound good in Discord, of course.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have told you.
Yeah.
But I was listening to you before I came on because I was behind, right? And you sounded
Yeah.
fine. And people were saying you sounded too low, and I was like, I disagree with that. And then
it's just so hard.
You sounded fine. Listen, I will say this: don't change your settings if one person says that you sound bad because you don't know what's going on their end. You should wait for the chat to tell you that you sound bad as a group before you change anything, because otherwise you keep changing things just when one person has an issue, and then you never get to
yeah.
To where you want
So
to be.
it's just weird stuff, and sometimes like it's just weird. Maybe it's just because I think the hardest part is your own voice, right? So like I look at my podcast, right? I look at like my videos, right? Just to hear me sound, and then I compare it to other people and their sound, and no matter what I do, I just sound bad. And I don't know if it's because it's my own voice.
You've got a good mic.
Like I just don't know. Like it's just annoying, but I don't know if it's because. And then I asked my wife, "Hey, do I sound like these other content creators?" She's like, "Yeah, you sound just as good as them." But then when I hear myself, I'm like, "But I sound like shit." Like I don't like. I'm like I don't sound like everyone else. Everyone else sounds different. It's just I don't know. I think it's just I don't know. It's really hard.
Listen, you know what I think it is? I think it's just because our own voices sound different in our heads. Like when I listen to my own voice, I hate it. And I'm just like, no, I can't believe people listen to this. I apologize to the world for putting this out there. It should just be, it should come with I owe you one. But you asked me before, how do I feel about this thing? I just wanted to say that number one, like I said, I feel glad for the Bungie acquisition. They finally did something for me. Otherwise, Bungie can fuck right off. They have never done anything for me. I never played Halo, I never played Destiny. So as a studio, they've never done anything for me as a gamer. But to prevent Naughty Dog from going down a dark path they were never going to recover from, I'm truly grateful. Number two, I feel thankful for Sony. Like I said, they are not going to put out something that is below their standard, and they let the developers still have a huge say in which direction they go into, because this was going to be a commitment. And then number three, I just want to say that to the community, I understand this is a disappointing moment, and we should all understand this is a disappointing moment. This is a massive L. But the lessons we need to take from this are also on our sides as well. When you keep asking for showcases, when you keep asking for things to be shown, and you refuse to understand the downsides of that, you're kind of propagating this kind of disappointment. You're kind of making it worse for everybody, because we're going to keep running into situations like these. There's a few more things I wanted to say, but I've forgotten them. So
let me see. I'm putting up a poll.
You should forward that poll. You know how these people like to get on the poll. Yeah, you should forward out for those likes. There's only 43 likes, 225 people watching.
I see 86.
You see 86 likes?
86 likes, yeah. Can we get to 100 likes? I'm about to.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. My counter was down. Jesus.
Here we go.
Racist.
Come on, hit that like button. And then we'll get on to the next topic, but I want to show you guys this because I found this. This is hilarious. So enjoy this. I want you guys to enjoy this. This shit is funny. So this is, I guess, DOTA. And I guess, so let me give you guys, you probably seen this, but you haven't seen it. I'm not into DOTA, whatever. But when I saw this on my timeline, so I guess DOTA has a special event which gives out free gifts or whatever, or gifts for doing stuff. And then when you open the gift, you get a surprise. Well, apparently this major world champion streamer has been toxic and doing and breaking terms of service on Dota. So when he opened up a gift, he got a specific surprise. So let's watch. Watch with me as we see this. Hilarious. Let me make sure the volume's all the way up. Enjoy. I never seen anything like this. Just watch.
What did you get from the gift chest? Owned. Open gift. What did I get? What? I got banned? Till 118? What? What if I just never opened it? Are they serious?
So what makes this all the better is this is a Christmas event in Dota 2. It's called Frostivus, and everyone has a chance to open this bag, and some people have a chance to get cosmetics. Others, though, Valve has now established a variety of reasons to give them bans, and yes, the users who are getting bans are finding out by opening something they thought was going to be a gift. In this case, Mason is also a former pro, and his gift was a permanent ban from Dota 2 for a high level of toxicity. I've never seen this before, but this might be what people have already called the most base thing ever.
All right. If you guys don't understand, I'm going to look at this right here. He opened his gift, and the developers gave him a gift of coal. It's highly toxic lump of coal. Your Dota account has been permanently banned for smurfing and other violations of the Steam terms of service. They literally created cosmetic of a coal specifically for these users that are violating terms of service. So they're playing the game and they keep playing. As soon as they open their gift, this pops out and initiates their ban. That is the most amazing thing I have ever seen.
No, do you know what I want? First of all, I have no idea what smurfing is, so we need to talk about what that is. But second, I would love it. I would love it if they had never opened it, they would never get the ban. Like, I would love it if they coded it that way. They're like, we know you're gonna be greedy. We know you're gonna look into this, so we're gonna set this trap for you. So now I'm thinking, are all of these cheaters and people that deserve to be banned purposefully avoiding gifts now? They're like, I'm never gonna open it.
Let me see. Smurfing in games.
Oh my god.
All right. It says, let's see. I'm looking at, I don't even know what smurfing is. What is smurfing gaming and why is it controversial? Are you an avid online gamer? Ever heard of smurfing gaming before? No. It is not about the blue character cartoon. So what does smurf mean in gaming? Smurfing gaming is a term that refers to a player using a secondary account. Pop-up ad. A secondary account in a video game to compete against less skilled players, either for fun or to intentionally ruin the experience for others. Smurfing gaming has gained quite a bit of controversy, and for good reason. Let's dive deeper into what it is and why is it controversial and its impact. So I think ultimately, I mean, they have a whole article on this, but I think what it is you create an account so that way you bypass the skill level and you're facing noobs and you are destroying them. Because of years of experience and whatever, you are destroying the noobs, thus ruining their experience in the game because they're not playing with skill equivalent people. You know, especially if he's a Dota champ. Yeah, sure. He starts a new account, and I would imagine like any game, you don't have the high level stuff. But you know, if you got two people with level 5 equipment and one guy's a champion and other guy's a noob, he's gonna effectively use that level 5 equipment in ways that a noob can't.
Yep.
And that's just stupid. Like, why would you, if you're a Dota fucking champ, or if you're a champ in any game, why are you like fucking with people that are noobs? So that's why
I think it's just a shit on them. You know, I feel like I used to
God.
play RuneScape, the MMO, and I feel like there were lots of people that did that. You know, back then.
So that's what it is, Smurfing. So he got banned. And he answered. He said the same statement you did. What if I would have never opened it? Well, guess
Yeah.
we'll never find out, buddy.
You know what I would love if the program did to open automatically on the 25th, like on Christmas Day.
Or you know what? I would. To be honest, that probably is a true thing. Because think about it. What if especially now, right? The word is getting out, so you could be like, "Oh shit, I'm not gonna open nothing. You're not gonna ban me."
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
we have a fail safe. All gifts will be open on the 25th. Merry Christmas,
There you
motherfucker.
go. There you go. Santa's gonna come to you. You don't have to come to him.
You will eat this gift. It will be opened. We'll unwrap it for you. Oh man, I just wanna I just saw that. I'm thinking,
Yeah,
man,
banned?
these guys are amazing. Like I never seen no shit like that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, hey guys, Xbox first party games dominates charts. Listen, I only preach truth on this because the truth is so much more funnier than the fabrication of lies. Because when you see the truth and you're like, this can't be happening. Yes, Xbox first party, no cap, has dominated the charts. And I'm about to show it to you. It was shocking. In fact, it's 3 of them. They dominated the top 3 spots. Smoke Nintendo, smoke PlayStation. I was shocked. I'm thinking that's another reason why I gotta go live, because I gotta see the reaction. Because this shit blew my mind, right? I'm like, God damn. Like, Nintendo and Sony's not even on the list. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm gonna show you. Here we go. So, for the most retired games of 2023, and most retired means people quit, gave up, put on hold, or just outright stopped playing.
You're a jerk.
All right? The top 10, we'll start from the bottom. Coming in at number 10, Terra Nil. I have no idea what that game is. Coming in at number 9, Darkest Dungeon 2. Coming in at number 8, Atomic Heart. Coming in at number 7, War Tales. Coming in at number 6, Wolong Fallen's Dynasty. Coming in at number 5, Humanity. Number 4, The Last Case of Benedict Fox. And for the top 3, starting at number 3, Forza Motorsport. Number 2, Minecraft Legends. And the number 1 game that has earned the most retired game, the one game that people quit, gave up, put that shit on hold, and said, we are done with this dog shit. Redfall. Everybody, give a round of applause. Microsoft finally dominated the chart.
Podium
Absolutely
finish.
amazing.
Podium finish. That's impressive.
Absolutely. My hat's off. Microsoft, hold on. I gotta tip my hat off to you. You did it.
You're such a jerk. Oh,
Bravo.
man.
Hey, everybody. Everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat. Oh, shit. We gotta go in the guide. Hold up. Everybody in the chat. Oh, boy. Let me do something. We got, everybody in the chat, please. I need everybody to give a round of applause, if you don't mind. Congratulate Microsoft. Listen. We can't be, listen, we bash Xbox all the time. When they achieve something, we got to give them their due. We got to be fair and balanced. If you don't clap in the chat, you're a fanboy. Because you give them credit for nothing. Let's give them credit. Let's all applause. Don't be a fanboy. Come on now. They got the top 3 spots. They earned
Give us some likes. Give us some
Come on.
likes, okay?
Hit some
For Microsoft's
likes.
sake.
Let me see some applause emojis. Don't be a fanboy. All right? Come on now. We play on all platforms. They earned it. Give them their props. They close out 2023. They dominated this list. I'm just saying. Not even Forspoken. Such a tragedy. Why are we not on the list? I feel left out. That's all.
Wow.
Extreme's like, you are such a dick. Because
You
you were
are
probably
such
looking
a
forward.
jerk.
You were like, man, I'm looking forward to seeing this.
I'm just like, I'm happy to celebrate Xbox. I'm like, finally, we got some good coming. The funny thing is, I made the same joke on Twitter, and yet
Yeah.
I forgot about this. It got me again. I'm just like, come on, that's the same joke I made. That's crazy.
Oh shit!
That is crazy. I'm not on my I'm not in top form, guys. I can't
right.
believe
It's like,
I got by my own joke. That's crazy.
all right. Last thing I want to talk about is this is what's funny. So we know. All right. So we know not specifically on the PS5 Pro, right? Because we talked about that, right? But if you remember, we had conversations that when the rumors came out, and we both agreed that at the time we didn't believe the rumors. Like they played it too safe.
I still
They
don't.
yeah, and they made generic statements, right? And I was like, until I see them make definitive statements that other people can disprove, I didn't care about any of the rumors, whether it was the all digital, whether it was a PS5 Slim with a detachable disk drive, what ended up being the Portal and the PS5 Pro. Because every statement they made was a very generic statement. Pretty much you wouldn't stand on your word, right?
Yep.
Eventually, the Slim was real, the Portal was real. Now you are starting to see statements on the PS5 Pro. Definitive statements. Statements such as the dev kits are in the hands of third-party devs. They are out there. We're looking at the specs and stuff like that, right? And when you make statements like that, somebody could come with their connections and maybe counter that, right? But I was waiting for one thing. And I didn't mention this podcast, and I should have, right? But there was one more indicator that if I would have seen this, or and I should have said this, but there was one more indicator. What gives me a warm and fuzzy about any console coming out is when everybody starts speculating on the specs. And I'm not talking about random people, Twitter user, is when all these tech-centric YouTubers that's been known for the tech community, they all start spitting various types of what they think the system's going to be. Oh, this is what I heard. No, this is what I heard. Because to me, they're playing a game, right? Let me put you this way. Let's say me, you, J-Dub, Craig, right? Us four, right? We're tech guys, right? We don't really know the specs of the PS5 Pro, but from what we heard, we know it's real. And now we're trying to get ahead of the game, right? And we're trying to convince our audience that we know what the fuck we're talking about when it comes to the PS5 Pro, right? But we really don't know exactly what it has because, again, that's real deep information and we're not getting it. But we're getting something that they have something. So what do? We logically make a couple assumptions. So let's say we're trying to guess a number between 1 and 10. And that represents, let's say, and I'm using easy terms, 1 and 10 represents what potentially the spec of the PS5 Pro could be. Well, we know one thing. It's not going to be 4, 3, 2, 1 because the PlayStation 5 is out of 4. I'm just making a metaphor. So PlayStation 5 is out of 4. So we're going to eliminate 4, 3, 2, 1. PlayStation, a number 5, not too significant. So technically we need at least a 6. So it's going to be 6 through 10, right? So now I pick 6, you pick 7, J-Dub picks 8, Craig picks 9. And we're arguing for this number. And then all of a sudden, Sony comes out, it's 7.5. You will end up looking good. The point what I'm trying to make is everybody's now trying to win the I know the numbers game.
Yeah.
And when I see that is because all the tech guys know something is there. They just don't have the data behind it, but they need content and they want to look like the smartest guy in the room. And they're jumping at the opportunity to push out some type of number. So that way, if they guess right, they can come back and be like, ha, I got the connections. I got the power. I got the knowledge. Listen to me. And now that I'm seeing all these tech guys doing that, I'm like, well, PS5 Pro is real.
they know something. They just may not know the full information, but they know enough to jump on the bandwagon and play this. I know from what I heard, and the number's 7.5. Everybody has a different number, but they are saying a number in hopes that their guess number is close to what the actual system is. So I'm telling you, the PS5 Pro is real. All the indicators is there. It's all there. And I'm just seeing this repeat. It's all there. The numbers, the indicators, the stupid game that they play, they're all playing that game. That PS5 Pro is real. That shit is real. That shit's coming out.
Listen, the thing is, the PS5 Pro being real is not outside of the realm of possibility. What I don't believe are these rumors. You get what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I get it.
You get what I mean? Like for me,
Like the specs? Like the
it's
specs?
of course it always.
Oh, yeah. The specs is fake. But they know something's there,
exactly.
and everybody's just jumping. Like, everybody's playing a number guess, and hopefully their guess is correct. So if it is close, they could go back. See, I knew it. No, you're just a good guesser. You're just a good, you know how to take other information and maybe reasonably make an assumption that
they extrapolate, and they infer from things that are based logically.
Yes.
But for me, that is a thing that says that these rumors are fake. And like I said, I live from the camera world. In the world of cameras, man, if you think people are fanboys on consoles, you've no idea. Like, no idea. Because I'm telling you, in cameras, we put thousands of dollars. Like this thing where you guys, you put $500 here, $500 there.
Nothing.
Like, listen, that's nothing.
That's a camera strap.
Exactly. Actually, not even a joke. I know camera straps that cost that much. My tripod was $1,500 for the thing to hold the camera. It does nothing. I love it though. That was only my first tripod. But the point is this. The point is this.
$1,500 tripod just to hold the motherfucker.
Just to hold the motherfucker.
I just build you one for $2. Here you go.
It's like, you got chopsticks? I can handle this. I'm gonna need 4, but I'm only gonna use 3.
Give me a couple of bucks and a Home Depot trip, and I got you.
It's like, you got some 2x4s? You got some nails? You got some glue? We got you. We got you.
Oh shit, that's crazy. But go ahead.
No. But no, seriously, man. I remember it was actually a Sony camera that got me. And it was the Sony Alpha 9 Mark II. And I'm telling you that these people were saying things that they haven't released in the Mark III yet. That was announced this year. Like, they literally skipped. Like, this one was such a disappointment compared to the rumors that even the next version still didn't live up to the rumors they had for the previous version. You get what I mean?
They were so far ahead that even the next 2 iterations seems like shit.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. The rumors, it would be like if a person gave you a rumor today that that even the PlayStation 7 didn't release with. Like, you'd be like, wait, so we're talking about the PlayStation 8 all the way back then? Right. So ever since that day, man, what I've learned is this. People will extrapolate and they will infer and they will make it so they'll make it. When you listen to D-Batch, it almost sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Like, if you pay attention, you realize he has no clue. But if you just listen to him at a glance, it's just like, when you look at the frequencies and the bands and the CPUs and the things, and don't you think to yourself, how would this equate to any human being? Like, how does a human being instinctively know, oh yeah, if this thing's running at 5 gigahertz, it's going to do this and it's going to do that? Now, how would you know that? You wouldn't, right? It will only equate to anything meaningful to you if you are A, an engineer, B, a developer, or most likely C, both. That's why the architect of the PlayStation 5 is both, right? He's a developer and an engineer. So the point is this. When I look at these rumors, guys, I highly caution you. Don't believe these rumors. Even if you believe that this is 100% true that the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to come out, I'll stand there with you. We can die on that hill together. But these rumors are complete fabrication. And then it's the same thing that, remember when the PlayStation 5 specs were announced? Fanboys were so upset about this teraflop card that never meant anything, that there were rumors that Sony had seen what the Xbox had in it and had decided to revise the specifications of the PlayStation 5. They were like, yeah, no. They went back to the drawing board in order to be more competitive with Xbox. They're now going to put 13 T-flops in there. And I was like, no, that's not how that works. You don't just go back to AMD and you're like, hey, we're going to need you to spec this up a little bit. like some kind of like option on the car. And then you just realize that your neighbor got the leather seats. And then you go back to the dealer and you're like, hey, listen, I'm not putting in the order, but I'll give you an extra 3,000 now. Give me the leather seats in mine.
So, shout out to Victory. He says, I knew you would come through with the live PR. Man, you are. Listen, can you drop me in my Twitter DM the numbers to the next lotto? Because I didn't even know I was gonna come through with the live. Now, shout out to Victor. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. So, if you look at the screen, right? So, I guess this PR5, since the Pro, I think most people are realizing, yep, this is happening. So, what's the counter? This new conversation of Xbox 2026, meaning now there's rumors of Xbox about to launch a next generation console in 2026, thus ending the generation of Xbox Series X and S. Now, obviously, you'll have cross-gen games, so it'll still be relevant, but officially, the generation of Xbox Series is over, and Microsoft would have decided to start a new generation, right? And I find that quite interesting because if you look at the screen, right? I have the screen right now. Mads PL. I think he used to call himself Mads Gaming, but he changed it to Mads PL. He says, I hear that Xbox is wrapping up its console business and is going full third party in 2024. Sure, that's why they are building a new Xbox console and are planning to release it before PlayStation next gen. And he's winking and he's happy all about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I find funny though is, keep in mind we're in 2023, and he's winking and all that. You know, he's ecstatic about the idea of 2026. But this dude was real tough in 2020, and I'm gonna show you some receipts. He was acting real tough about that Xbox Series X. Example number one. Sure, but just as velocity architecture won't beat PS5 input-output, PS5 won't beat Xbox Series X on power and performance 99% of the times at least. Next example. Message to my PlayStation friends. The fact that PS5 will be less capable than Xbox Series X doesn't make it a bad console. PS5 will be a great console. Huge step over the PS4 and Pro. That's why Des praised it too. No need to pull some secret sauce stuff out of thin air. And next one. PS5 is a really good console. A true next-gen machine. It's just Xbox Series X is more capable. A lot of tough talk on how Series X is so much capable, and now here you are, 3 years into the gen, and you hyping a new gen for Xbox. It's just funny how we came in full circle. When people realize, and I think it's clear to say, if you're an Xbox gamer and you are hyping Xbox 2026, it's because you know Xbox failed this gen. Not didn't do good, not things didn't go as planned, failed. Because that's what you're asking for. You're asking for a do-over. Start from scratch. Just give us the next gen. Move over. New gen. Let's forget about this. We're done talking about the series console. Xbox failed this gen. And you want a 2026 to begin. So you can buy the new console, buy the new direction, buy whatever it's called, and move on from what you own right now. Am I exaggerating extreme? Am I putting too much spice in this?
No, man. Listen. When the Xbox next releases in 2026, I want you PlayStation fans to know that that doesn't mean the PS5 is a bad console. It just means that the Xbox is going to be leagues ahead of it 99% of the time. That's exactly what I want you guys to know. Okay. Listen, man, this is exactly the kind of people that I've been talking about. The people that jump out at the specs, and even though you were warned by a person that literally built one of their systems, that this whole teraflop thing, don't be using it like that. You don't understand what it means. I've always told people it's like megapixels in a camera. Just because you have more of it doesn't mean you end up having better image quality. Okay, there's many other factors that matter. And it's just like having resolution on a TV. There's many TV screens that are all 4K, and yet the LGs and the Sonys and the Samsungs are held above the rest of the 4K, screens, especially the ones from like Chinese manufacturers. Because you can't just look at a singular number and determine what the performance of a product is going to be. So yeah, be educated, go ahead and understand this. But yeah, no, you need to break his legs, but go up there, put out those receipts, remind him exactly who he was and who he wants to be now. Because if even if this thing was true, it will be a huge mistake for Xbox. Number one, the Xbox 360 sold terribly compared to the PlayStation 2 when it first came out, right? And so what you will have there is that all that would do is that the people that are interested in buying the PlayStation 5, because they're interested in buying the PlayStation 5 for the games, would just keep buying the PlayStation 5. The Xbox Next would release. It will also get bodied by the PlayStation 5, and by that time, hopefully a PlayStation 5 Pro, since everybody is now decided that is a real thing. And then it would just keep going, because the fundamental problem with Xbox isn't the hardware. Like, we have to be honest, the Xbox Series X has nothing wrong with it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's not innovative. It doesn't do the haptic feedback. It doesn't even have like a working DVR, because you can only record 4K for like 15 seconds before it gives up or whatever. There's a few deficiencies that it has, but fundamentally, it is a good console. There's no red ring of death. There's no overheating, there's no huge noise and everything. All it needs is the software product to back up its claim to fame about being the world's most powerful console, right? So if you created a new version, you will be solving a problem that nobody really has. In fact, if they were going to do something drastically different in 2026, it should be cutting off the Xbox Series S and being like, yeah, we're done with this. Like, this is where our support for this product ends. And going forward, we're just going to go with the Series X. But they will never do that. But that would be more impactful than releasing yet another Xbox that would still be tied to the Series S. This is the thing. Like, it doesn't matter if you keep, like,
because they're gonna go through their cross-gen period.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
Exactly.
It's not like they're
just
gonna 2026 nothing but exclusives.
Exactly. So this is what I mean by, like, you will still just create a more powerful. I don't know. It's like right now the Series S is the anchor, and it's just dragging the Series X across the ocean floor. Now, if you create a more powerful, I guess, I don't know, yacht, yeah, I guess is the analogy I'm going for here, you still have this anchor. But now it is being dragged not only by the Series S, but also the Series X, because all of these games will have to work across 3 different pieces of hardware. So what problem would you be solving? Like, when the people say these things, I'm like, do you not have a brain? Just for like a second, do you not think to yourself, wait, these games will still need to be held up by the Series S, but now there will be the Series X also, that will be in the middle, and then this series, I don't know, let's call it the Series Z. This Series Z will still be held up by the previous 2. Like, why? Why bother going through that exercise? I don't know. Maybe I guess the logic in me just doesn't see it.
I think right now what they're focusing on is this is what they're focusing on, right? And I don't think it's just they're more concerned on how the current gen of Xbox is going to look with a PS5 Pro mid-gen refresh, right? And what they're afraid is, and it's not, and they shouldn't be afraid, but what's going to happen is the PS5 Pro is going to outclass any console, to include its PS5 brethren, but the Xbox Series X is going to get decimated, right? And it's going to be consistent. It won't even be a close battle like it kind of is with the PS5, where you can fanboy and pretend the series is better than every PS5 version.
Yeah.
Against the Pro, you're not going to be able to fanboy. It's going to be...
It will be undeniable.
It's undeniable. It will be a slaughter, right? And Phil Spencer already admitted that there is no mid-gen refresh. It's not happening. They're not doing it. because they don't see the need or reason. And let's be honest, when him saying there's no need, he's probably thinking, you guys hardly buying what I'm giving you now. You want me to implement a third console? So really, the only solution is the Xbox 2026. But here's the thing. Why 2026? Why this solution? It's not like he hinted at any point that they're going to release a disrupted cycle. We had the Activision Blizzard case. All court documents were released. There is not a single document that stated a potential strategy of a disrupted cycle. So where did this come from?
They positioned it in those documents as 2028 for the next generation.
Technically speaking, yes. So where did this 2026 come from? I'm telling you what's come from. It is a fundamental fanboy hope that Microsoft does what was done with the 360 when the 360 disrupted the cycle and they launched a year ahead of everybody else. Microsoft cut the Xbox or OG Xbox gen short so that way they could launch the 360 in 2005 before the launch of the Wii and the PS6. That's lit. That's it. Right? Now, while that does sound like a strategy, I don't think people who are saying that today, I'm not going to say they weren't around in 2005 because clearly they bought a 360. I just don't think they cared about to talk what happened. I did, right? I got interested in talking about gaming industry and gaming stuff when the PS1 came out, you know, primarily through reading magazines and all that stuff. And then during the PS2 gen, I signed up for boards, you know, community boards, you know, and stuff like that, and stuff, the forums. So I was always talking about the industry. I remember MPD when they used to actually release console cell numbers. It wasn't just who was first, second, or third. They actually listed the specific amount of consoles sold, right? And we used to talk about that. And I used to be in forum groups that talk about that. So I didn't get into this for content creation. I was always interested in talking about gaming from that perspective just because I was just simply interested, right? It wasn't for a YouTube channel or whatever. It was just that. So I think a lot of guys that are talking about this, that are content creators now, or they're on Twitter as a content creator, they didn't pay attention to 2005. They just bought an Xbox, played it, whatever. I remember 2005 vividly because in the forums, people was actually making fun of Xbox 360 because the PlayStation 2 was outselling the shit out of it. 360 sales were bad the first year. No one was really buying it. It was low. Like, everybody's thinking, what the fuck, right? It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't until Sony announced that the PlayStation was $599 at E3 where you started seeing a shift of attitude of PlayStation gamers who were pissed off and thinking, is this thing really gonna come out for $599 for Blu-ray and technology they never heard of? And then like the launch line or the games being announced was like, what the hell is Genji or MotorStorm and stuff like that? Then when the console launched in November for $600 and the biggest IP to brag about was Resistance, and in that very same month, Gears of War came out. It was over. A $400 Xbox with Gears of War, that game sold over 1 million copies that month. That's when people jumped ship because the price was too high and the content was too light. And it kept that steady stream of disappointing content month after month after month after month after month after month. And while PlayStation was just looking silly, and you got Gabe Newell from Valve saying that this console's trash, just do over. On the Xbox side, they're showing Halo 3. You know, they got, you know, Mass Effect exclusivity. Elder Scrolls Oblivion came out. All these big games is like, holy shit. And then if that wasn't enough, even the simple shit for casuals, Madden football. When PlayStation came out and they made the first Madden, it was running at 30 frames. Oh my God. A sports game on 30 frames is unthinkable because EA wasn't used to the hardware. Yet the 360 version was at 60 frames. And Peter Moore knew to take advantage of that at E3 because he said at E3, right? Madden running on 360, the only console running at a smooth 60 frames per second. I'm like, this guy knew how to fucking entice people. Yep. Then Grand Theft Auto going to Xbox, DMC going to Xbox, and they're running better on Xbox. It was just bad. So people were just jumping ship left and right, left and right, left and right because of the huge mistake PlayStation made in creating the PS3. Well, now I say all that to say this. People don't realize it wasn't the year advance because the year advance didn't do nothing, right? Sure, you could say it established a little bit of household, but that really didn't do nothing until PS3 actually came out and you saw the disaster it was. 2026, and like you said, it's not a hardware problem, it's a software problem. 2026, the same question is going to be asked that people are asking today. Why do I need to buy an Xbox? And they can't just simply say, oh, because we started next gen. Because in my opinion, Xbox does not have that clout, that power, that authority, and definitely nowhere near the mind share to dictate people when a new gen starts.
Yeah, that's
they don't have that skill.
Xbox cannot start the next generation. Like, I'm sorry, if people think that, if you think Xbox is powerful enough to force everybody in the industry to be like, yep, it's not next gen until PlayStation says so. That's basically it. Like,
pretty much.
Nintendo can slot in whenever they want because they are just out of phase with everybody. But yeah, it's not next gen until PlayStation says so. When PlayStation releases the next generation, they just pull whatever the Xbox equivalent is across. Like, if Xbox released the next generation console and they called it the next generation console, they even said, oh, this is part of, is it the 8th or the 9th generation now? That will be. But let's say it's part of the 9th generation. They give all the marketing, this is the brand new generation. People will be like, yeah, that's a mid-gen refresh. For the reasons we talked about before.
I would not be surprised if people say, bullshit, this ain't no fucking next gen.
Exactly. They will wait for PlayStation. They'll wait for PlayStation. Then when PlayStation releases the PlayStation 6, they'll be like, okay, that version that you had that you released 4 years ago, okay, we'll pull that forward and we'll call that a competitor to the PlayStation 6. But yeah, like, they don't have the cachet. I'm sorry, they're not the Apple of gaming. They really aren't.
Yeah. So the whole, we start new gen, ain't nobody gonna fall for that. Especially when your games are tied, again, to the lowest common denominator, which is Series S, because your games are going to be cross-gen, because you're not going to immediately cut off the Series consoles. Because that's one thing 360 did. It cut off the OG Xbox right off the hell. But they could do that, right? Because the OG Xbox didn't sell a lot, so they were willing to just cut it off and move on. They can't do that. They can't. Because if they cut the Series consoles off, that means they cut the Game Pass subscribers off. Until you buy a new console. That means you get no new games from first party because you don't have the hardware to do it. They're not going to do that fast. Not even close.
100%. And if they did, it would just be a mistake. You know, it is what it is. Like we said, the problem with Xbox isn't the hardware. So trying to solve what they're going through right now through hardware. And in fact, they even they themselves understand this because they keep shying away from any hardware talk. You know, now they're talking about not needing any hardware, or at least not needing any Xbox specific hardware. So this fever dream that these fanboys are having, I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, your own guy told you he's not even trying to out-console Sony. He's not here for that. You want him to be. And I wish they would say that. I wish they would just go to Phil and be like, nah, but we want you to out-console Sony. Just say it to him. Be like, no, like, you should get fired. Don't be saying that. I always say this, guys, if you're interested in buying, you know, any car, and then the CEO of that company is like, yeah, we're not trying to compete with our direct competitors, like they are better than us, you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to need you to be fired real quick. Like, real quick. I'm going to need you to leave the building. You know, like, what do you mean, you know? Or even the fact that he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm enjoying my competitors' cars. Like, oh, man, yeah, I'm the CEO of Audi, man, but I love driving that Porsche. It's like, boy, I don't care if you're in the same family. I don't care. You're an Audi CEO. You love driving Audis. You know, like sure, when you go to your private island and you know you're there with your billionaire friends and there's no cameras around, you can drive whatever car you want. You know, you can even drive a Mercedes. But when you're the CEO of Audi, you love Audi. You only drive Audi. You only want Audi. You dream about Audi.
Oh man, look at this. Somebody, oh man, this, me as a Sega fan, this image stings. Because I'm not going to lie, this is a good comparison. Like that shit hits. It's almost like history is repeating itself, like for like. Like I see this exactly. Like you got the initial launch of the Sega Master, and I had that was my first console that my parents bought for me, and that wasn't the first console I played, but that was the first console that I owned that my parents bought and gifted me, was the Master System, right? And similar to the OG Xbox, right? Just good enough for people to pay attention, but nothing where you dominated the industry because another platform had that power, which was the Nintendo Entertainment System. That was the almighty, all-powerful, right? So you could equate that NES with the PlayStation 2, right? And then the next generation, Sega actually went ahead of Super Nintendo and launched the Genesis, because that came out first before Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and that shit blew up. The games, everything, right? So similar to 360, just blew up. They're at the top of their game. Man, you know, everybody loved it. And then things started going down, kind of going downhill. The Saturn and the Xbox One, yep, like for different reasons, but ended up the same. You lost your mind share, you lost your popularity, things are just going worse. And then finally, the Dreamcast and Series X. People are praising for what it's doing, because I remember Dreamcast was being praised for its games, but for whatever reason, it just wasn't selling. And I had a Dreamcast, and the games were amazing. And it had online before PlayStation. I was playing 2K basketball on that. It was cool. It was a great console. Had a lot of exclusives. And when Sega announced that they're done, I was like, why? It had everything going for it. But people just wasn't buying it. It just wasn't selling. And the series console similar. People just aren't buying no matter what you say. Oh, we bought Bethesda, we got Activision, we got Game Pass, we got all this stuff. And people are just like, I'm good. Phil, not interested. This is interesting. You know, I would say the only big difference between the two is that Sega was a company unto themselves, while Xbox is just a division. So they have more money, they have more resources. They're not there. Sega was the company. You know, Sega wasn't part of $1 trillion company. They were the company. Xbox is not the company. Xbox is just a division under the umbrella of Big Daddy. So I would say that's the only main difference, that Xbox can survive another day simply because somebody is pretty much making sure they survive, right? Big Daddy's the one with the money. But man, that was something.
I mean, you're absolutely. I mean, this thing really puts into perspective, you know, because it just makes you think. Like, are we seeing, you know, the end of the Xbox, which I do not want. And I'm not wanting it. I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, oh, we need someone to be in competition with Sony. No. They're not even in competing with Sony. The Last of Us thing can happen because Xbox is in competition. You know, because if Xbox was competition, Naughty Dog would have realized that shit sooner, and Sony would have been like, "Hey guys, listen, this is very cute the way that you've blown up this project, way beyond your expectations, but we're gonna need you to focus on what you do." So they are not competition. The reason I want Xbox to be here though is because I want more games, and I don't trust Nintendo to make games or hardware that I'm going to enjoy. And the only people, I understand how much investment it takes to even, you know, start up, a console experience, whether even Stadia, or even Amazon Luna, I will even include that into the whole console experience because like you were talking at the beginning of the podcast, Phil Spencer, the biggest lie he ever told was the fact that there are 2 billion gamers out there in the world because he lumped us in and then pretended that we were all playing the same kind of experience, And just like you talked about with your significant other, that she is a mobile gamer and she is not interested in any of your experiences and you're not interested in any of hers. So there's only a few of us left. If we lose Xbox, I don't think we are going to get someone else who is going to come and commit to the console gaming experience for a long, long time. And the reason I want them to keep, people will be like, well, why don't they just put their stuff everywhere? The reason that I want them to keep the box is that I understand that 30% that they make from third-party, games on their platform is a huge amount of money. The amount they make from microtransactions is a huge amount of money. For Xbox, it's probably way more than the 60% than it is for PlayStation or whatever, right? Because their games don't sell that well. So it's probably like a huge slice of the pie. So I'm just like, if they go rid of the box and they lost access to be able to publish games on their platform that they get a 30% cut from, that's even less money they have to put into the games. Like, I'm just like, at a certain point, Microsoft's going to go like, nah, this isn't worth it. So number one, you're not selling your games, but number two, we're not selling games from third parties either. So we're not getting that revenue, but you want us to buy more studios for you, to fund for more of these developments. Eventually, they're going to be like, no, you've gone too far. You're now taking the joke, and now they're just going to cancel the entire thing. So I think if Xbox console dies, unlike what people are saying, I think if the Xbox console dies, I think Xbox dies. Like, I think it's that fundamental to their success.
So I could appreciate everybody saying, they want competition and stuff like that, right? And I think on the PlayStation side, some fans are concerned with how Sony is going to react. That Microsoft needs to stay in the console race because if not, Sony will be arrogant. Thing about that statement is, though, I don't think Microsoft, I'm going to say, Microsoft's not going to care about that because it's not Microsoft's responsibility to prevent Sony from being arrogant. Microsoft is just concerned about their bottom line and how to make money. And obviously they have a strategy to make money. Really, it's about strategy, right? We know their strategy to make money in the PC gaming space. And that's with Game Pass and with Steam, selling day and date titles. So that way Steam gamers who don't care about subscription services or PC gamers in general, they have the ability to buy their games and own their games. That's their strategy. We know their strategy for tablets, phones. Well, I'll use tablets and TVs. Their xCloud strategy. Be able to play these games on these devices with xCloud, right? Phones, the same thing, but they're also adding a strategy of native phone mobile gaming. As part of their acquisition with Activision, they got King Games, the people who make Candy Crush. So now they have development studios to make native games that would make my wife happy. For that culture, right? Not necessarily try to convert them to play xCloud, but simply give them the games that they want, that they play. Because my wife's not going to all of a sudden play Gears of War simply because you could cloud game on her phone. She's not going to buy a bone control, all that nonsense. She's just going to use one finger, and you better make a game that you could play with.
That works on one finger, yeah.
One finger, that's it. That's all you get. That's all you're going to get from her. So, but they have King Games. But what about the console market? What is their strategy for that? And the strategy is not going to be, let's try to sell the most amount of consoles or gain market share, because that has been a consistent failure from their perspective. And even Phil Spencer realized. I think in the beginning of the gen, he had aspirations, because when we seen the leaked email, that big leaked data dump of all information that got leaked from their servers onto the public with the emails and all that stuff, Phil sent the email to Satya the day of Sony's reveal, and he was like, man, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, I feel excited now. With what Sony presented, I think we finally got a good strategy. He honestly felt he had a good strategy. He honestly felt that they created a powerful console to rival PlayStation, but they have the price advantage with the Series S. So I think that year in 2020, early March, whatever, when he sent that email, he felt good and he probably thought to himself, I think we did it. I think we finally got the formula and we're going to get back.
Yep.
And then November 2020 happened. And he's like, fuck. PlayStation 5 selling out, and he probably sees the data month after month, year after year, and he's like, man, fuck this. Like, there's nothing. If we can't do it under these conditions, there is no condition where we're gonna outsell PlayStation or Nintendo. It's just not gonna happen because they gave it all they got. They created in what in their mind was the best scenario, a powerful console for $500. But if you absolutely don't care about power and you just want affordability and just to play games, we got that too. Here's $300. $300 for a next generation console. And that didn't work. So he's like, it's over. It's like there's no console strategy for us to do. This just doesn't exist. What can they do next gen that they haven't done? Like what? That even the moniker, world's most powerful console, doesn't work. It's not a sellable. You can't sell a console with that title. No one cares. So I think he's done with that, right? So
I mean, no one cares because it's not true, right?
Yeah.
Like the general consumer would care if there was a 30 to 50% advantage that people were talking about. Like if there was truly like, hey, listen, every single fidelity mode game on Xbox is 4K 60 and it has to start at 4K 30 on PS5, people would be flocking to the Xbox. Like that would have happened. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So, but you still have to take advantage of the console market. But you can't do it with your console. So, like I mentioned in the podcast before, I think they're strategizing for a way to keep their console because of Game Pass and stuff like that. But how to take advantage of the PlayStation console and Nintendo console because they're clearly going to sell. He knows they're going to sell. He knows the Switch 2 is going to sell like Blockbuster. Unless they do something royally stupid, that console is going to sell insane numbers. He knows the PlayStation 6 is going to sell insane numbers, unless, again, Sony does something royally stupid. But as barring that, he knows those consoles are going to dominate the market. So the question is, do you miss out on all those gamers? And they're going to try to shuffle and figure out the way. So I don't think the console is going to go away because I think that's their Game Pass. That's their method to provide Game Pass to the console gamer. But they're not going to ignore Nintendo and PlayStation. They can't. It's just too many gamers. Those consoles are in regions where they don't even sell Xboxes. So there are regions that if it wasn't for PC, they wouldn't even be selling anything. Those gamers, right? And I want to show you this. This is real interesting right here. I'm glad we're talking about this. Give me a second because I bookmarked this.
Okay. Why do you find it?
I got it right now. Oh, you know I'm quick.
Oh, you got it? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Boom. So Derek Strickland, you know, with Tweaktown, he says Xbox doesn't just need a mobile presence. Newzoo 2023 market report estimates that 1.7, pretty much 1.8 billion gamers are in the Asian Pacific region. A better Xbox APAC presence could help tap into this user base. Curious if how Mena Kato can help turn this around. So look at this image. This is how many global players in gaming there are per region. I'm going to focus on North America, which is pretty much Mexico, US, and Canada. There's 237 million gamers. That's mobile, console, everything. Pretty much gamers, if you play a game. A 2.4% year-over-year growth. So this right here is North America. But if you look at the Asian Pacific, 1.7 billion gamers. Obviously, phones, PC, consoles. Half of the world's gamers are in the Asian Pacific region. Xbox has a shitty presence in this region, like pretty much non-existent, like absolutely non-existent. Okay. Even Europe has 447 million gamers as that region, which is more than North America.
Yep.
And even there, even Xbox present there is trash. If you look at this map,
it's abysmal.
If you look at this map, Microsoft technically has some type of presence in the smallest segment in this entire map. And if you look at all these regions, even Latin America has more gamers than North America. Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. So the one area where Microsoft has, in their own metrics, the best foothold for themselves, at least as Xbox, is the smallest region, 7%. There are places in Europe that Xbox has no say. There are places in the Middle East and in Asia Pacific that Xbox is irrelevant from a console perspective. Look how much they're missing out. And the only way they can really get a foothold, at least from a console perspective, they got to reach out to Nintendo and PlayStation. They got to go to them to get more mindshare in these regions. If they don't put stuff on PlayStation or Nintendo, they're never going to reach these guys unless you just strictly focus on mobile games. But as far as AAA console games, you want to go there, right? If you want to go all over this map, you got to have a conversation with PlayStation, Nintendo, because that's how you get to those regions, because they're there. They're in those regions. They have a product that those regions buy.
Do you know what they really need to do? Now, obviously, there's going to be a non-compete clause for probably like 5 years for Jim Ryan. But Jim Ryan is a guy who built up PlayStation in Europe. They need to hire him as a consultant, okay? Because the thing is, yes, they could take the shortcut. Yes, they could go through mobile. But if we're talking about what we care about, which is the console game experience, they need the Jim Ryan to tell them how to expand into a market that they are not dominant in. And they need to begin with Europe, okay? One of the big things that is holding back Xbox from those markets is that they don't have enough localization support. They don't do enough translations,
I heard about that.
and support with their games, for these markets. Like a lot of people that are in Arabic speaking countries, they're like, we don't even get that. And the thing is, when you look at the map of Arabic speakers in the world, it's a huge language. Like it is big, right? Like it's you are cutting off a huge majority of the international audience that could be interested in your product. Because I think the thing I hate about Phil Spencer is that I feel like he truly underestimates just how important games are to the gaming industry. Like he does almost everything but the games parts, right? And I don't just mean about the quality of the games they put out, but support for the games, localization for the games. Things like that really truly matter when it comes to expanding your brand. Right now, he kind of has this attitude of, if we build it, they will come. But I'm like, people know what Game Pass is. People are not like surprised that Game Pass exists. They need to be able to say like, okay, where is the thing that I want for this? Obviously, buying studios from those particular regions and not be able to offer a product that appeals to those consumers is another big thing that they need to do. But basic localization, man, how is that not already in the games? Like people were saying that I read this online, so don't quote me on this one. But some people were saying that Starfield had less localization support than Skyrim. And you're part of Microsoft now. You should have more, And it's like, again, these things are keeping an entire audience away. So when you build Game Pass and you're like, now you can have access to this game for $10, and then this person is either not an English speaker or they prefer to have their native language as a dubbed version for their product. What are they going to do? Like, just because they speak English, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, doesn't mean that they necessarily want to have to go through the mental strain of understanding something in a language that is not native to them. So it's basic things like that that seem so small and yet they matter in a huge way for embracing a new audience. I want Xbox to chase after these people as a console platform, as a console first platform, not a mobile first platform, because again, I don't particularly care about the mobile game experience. So as a console first platform, I want them to chase after these markets, but do it in a real way. Don't just improve the quality of your products, which you need to do, because, oh man, I get so tired of seeing the list. You know the list, P-Rock, don't you? The Disavowed list, the Fable list, the Clockwork Revolution list, the list that's been with us, the Hellblade 2. Oh my god, Hellblade 2 is like the grandfather. No, it's the godfather of that list. It basically spawned that list for the new generation, and it still hasn't come out. Like, Hellblade, guys, was announced in 2019. It was announced before The Last of Us Part 2, the original one, since apparently everybody hates the remix now. People don't read. But, guys, it still hasn't released. It still hasn't released. And here we are with the Fable list. And that's what my good friends like Truck in the chat there, they love to say, what you gonna play next year? What first party game is coming in 2024? And it's like, I don't know, but it's not gonna be the same first party game that was announced 5 years ago. Like, guys, let these products come out. My new thing is that Xbox has no dates, and they need to get dates. Okay, they finally got the games, but those games need some dates on them. Okay, we need some commitment that this will be a release product. Then it needs to be amazing quality. And I'm sorry, I know that Phil Spencer said that, oh, even if Starfield was an 11 out of 10, people wouldn't sell the PS5s. I'm gonna need that guy to be fired. I truly need Phil Spencer to go. I really, really do. I need him to be fired because I want somebody that's gonna be like, yeah, when we release our game, you are going to question why you ever got a PS5, or you're going to question why you at least don't have an Xbox. Like, and remember when the Xbox was coming out, and then people were like, "Oh, I'm still gonna buy the PS5," and then Xbox on Twitter was like, "Oh yeah, that's also cool. You can buy a competitor's products. When we all game, we all play. Oh, sorry, when we all play, we all win, or some ridiculous nonsense like that. Like, stop it with this weak ass attitude. Just be like, no, you're making a mistake for buying a PlayStation. We have the superior product. We have the superior games, and you should be with us. You can buy. They should have said something like, "Oh yeah, buy a PlayStation 5 next year. Get us first." You know, something like a little bit tongue in cheek, but a little bit like, "Nah, we got this. You're good here." That's what I need. That's what competition to me is, and that's why I'm saying that Xbox isn't competing. Because if you are even recommending to people to buy the PlayStation 5 instead of your product, in lieu of your product, then you're not competing. You're just there. You're just standing for nothing.
Right. Interesting. Oh. So we'll see how it goes, man. I know there's a little weird rumor going around, and I don't really put much stock onto it. I think hold on, let me show. So apparently in the forums they're talking about this nonsense. I didn't say it's nonsense, but again, it's just people extrapolating and throwing in their stuff. But console war over, Microsoft ramping up third-party development, Xbox bends the knee. Even the description sounds stupid, right? I think Microsoft's having a strategy to put more games everywhere, but of course, as we know, people want to extrapolate and overdo it. But this conversation, the conversation in Icon Era forum rooms are talking about that we're going to be seeing this strategy in 2024. And they're hyping that the console is over. To which, in my opinion, I don't think the console is going to go anywhere. I think everybody's just conflating two things. I think Microsoft will still make consoles, but I use the Surface tablet analogy. You still have a Surface tablet, and you make a Surface tablet, and your Surface tablet has all these great productivity software and capabilities with Windows and all that stuff, and how it does great with a Surface tablet. But that doesn't stop Microsoft from providing that same software to other third-party tablets if you want a third-party tablet. Because maybe, you know, HTC or Samsung makes better tablets. You know, all these other tablet makers make better tablets, you know, in style and all that. So you want those tablets. But guess what? Microsoft still makes the money from the software side of things. Because at the end of the day, you may have bought the hardware, but the software that provides the productivity and the style and all that stuff, it is still Microsoft, and they will still get money from you. And I see Microsoft going with that strategy. If you don't want our hardware, that's fine. We understand. You've been saying that message for decades. You prefer PlayStation hardware. You prefer Nintendo hardware. Cool. But we're still going to make money off you. We're not going to miss out on the money you bring on the software side, right? And it's not that much of an investment to port games because, you know, third party, a lot of people port games, right? And I don't think it's going to be that much detriment to something that's not selling a lot anyway. So when people say, oh my God, you put games on PlayStation. Oh man, nobody's going to buy an Xbox. No one's really buying an Xbox anyway. So you're using a fear tactic on something that already exists, right? A lot of people ain't buying Xboxes, so that's already happening. You might as well give a proper reason for it and just make more money because it's already happening without the software sales. So I think this is exaggerating. Again, I think this is one of those, like the PS5 Pro spec talk, is people exaggerating. But I do think that there is a strategy that Microsoft will eventually unveil. Similar, it's going to remind me of, I don't know if you probably were around on Twitter, whatever, but in 2016, when Quantum Break went to PC, it was an Xbox exclusive. And I think a few months later, Microsoft announced Quantum Break would be published on PC. Oh man, for you guys in the chat, do y'all remember that day? For those that have been around, yo, Crab Gamer went at Phil, and I think he got blocked by Phil or unfollowed, because Phil Spencer used to follow Crab Gamer, because Crab Gamer had a big Xbox podcast called Xbox Nation Podcast. It was real huge. You know, that was like the main podcast for Xbox gamers, right? Xbox Nation. Okay. And Crab Gamer just unloaded on Phil.
Wait, what was going to PC?
Quantum Break.
Oh, okay.
Because that was announced as an exclusive for Xbox. And then when...
But was that day and date going to PC?
No, it not even. It was announced later. It wasn't even.
Oh, wow.
It was just
it's funny
announced,
how things change, huh?
Yeah, it was just announced later. So the game came out first, and that was an exclusive. That was, big deal. Then all of a sudden, Microsoft said, hey, we're making a PC version. And oh, man, that blew up. Xbox community was not happy. What was going to happen to our console? Crap Gamer was just unloading on Phil, adding him. And Phil replied saying, I don't understand why someone else playing a game you get to play is such a big deal. That was Phil's response.
Yeah.
And now, in hindsight, when I hear that statement, Phil was already alluding to the future of Xbox, which was they're going to put their games on PC. We just didn't see it at the time. I personally thought that he put Quantum Break simply because it was a sales failure, and to help Remedy out with more sales, we're going to put it on PC. I honestly thought that. That was my viewpoint. I'm thinking, damn, the sales of this game must be lackluster, and the only way to help Remedy was to put it on PC. So that way they could get more sales. I honestly, that was my thought process, because even I didn't see the day that Microsoft announced all their games are going on Steam day and date. That blew my mind. But now in hindsight, that was already in play in 2016. It just took time to get to that point. And I think we're repeating the same thing. It's just going to take time for Phil to do that Quantum Break moment. We're going to get the Quantum Break moment, pretty much rip the Band-Aid off the wound from the Xbox community. And they're going to be backlash, and they're going to hate this one announcement, whatever. And then after a while, they're just not going to give a shit no more. They're going to be numb to the after effects after, if that makes sense. But to me, Quantum Break was that Band-Aid where Phil said, zip! And there was a backlash. Boy, there was a meltdown. The crying, the pain of ripping that Band-Aid. Like, not that the scab and the hair came with it. Like, It was just painful. But Phil's like, you got to let that wound heal itself. And once the wounds heal itself, you guys will be all right. You'll realize it's not that bad. And I think I don't know when, but that Quantum Break moment for the Xbox community is going to come again. Phil's going to come again and rip that Band-Aid right off. And there's going to be backlash. There's going to be some crying. And then over time, that little wound's going to heal, and people are just going to move on. I think Doc Dark, he said it best. I think he's already, my little bro is level-headed, right? So when the announcement of, yeah. I mean, he's having his fun, but when the announcement came out, he asked a serious question. How is PlayStation getting his game going to ruin his enjoyment of the game when he gets it the way he wants? He got a console. He has Game Pass. The game comes on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
What is the PS5 version going to do that's going to make him feel some type of way? And the answer is nothing.
Absolutely nothing. I have an answer to that.
Content creation, shit talking, absolutely. But outside of Twitter, outside of YouTube, when you're not on the internet at all and you're just at home playing a game, it does nothing for him.
See, the thing is, I think it does something for him. Because what I will say to that is this. If Microsoft were to put their games day and date on PlayStation, they will sell more on PlayStation. We all know why. They will sell, if those games are great, a lot more on PlayStation. But the thing is, the PlayStation audience is going to be used to a particular type of game. They are going to assess particular things, the cinematic experience, the great graphics, the quality control, the amazing gameplay, all of that thing. And then a really, really great storyline. And if Microsoft is successful at this model, they are going to create more of that type of game because that will be the thing that sells. So the thing is, when your Dog Dark says that, PlayStation just makes movie games that they barely have any gameplay in it and everything, I'm like, well, if you were to truly believe that, and you're not just saying it for the fanboys, then you don't want Xbox to be successful on PlayStation, because then you're going to get more PlayStation type games from Xbox because those are the things that will sell, So that's my one counterpoint. Like, if you come in and then you're suddenly successful at doing this one thing, like imagine if like Olive Garden, I don't even know anything about Olive Garden. Why am I using an analogy about a store I don't know anything about? Let's say that they became really, really good at being a mini Walmart, which I assume Olive Garden is not, because again, I have no idea what Olive Garden does. But imagine, imagine that they became good at becoming like a mini Walmart.
Italian.
Then guess what? They are going to do that and be successful, and they're going to just convert the entire franchises into that thing. So if you don't want your brand, to emulate what another brand is doing that you don't appreciate, then yeah, you should care about whether or not they start flirting with that customer base, because that customer base is going to have inherent demands. This is why we don't want PlayStation to flirt with mobile. We don't want PlayStation to flirt, with gas games, because we know that if they become successful at it, they are going to demand more. Like if and when I'm saying successful, I don't mean like lightly successful. I mean like just disgustingly successful at it. Like the Fortnites of the world, like the Call of Duty is like bringing 1 billion in a day, like GTA Online kind of world. Like if PlayStation and the 5 live service games that are still coming, right? If 3 of those became the next GTA Online, yeah, I'm gonna be worried for PlayStation's identity. I'm gonna be more worried than I've ever been. Because I'm going to be like, wait, if you guys figure out that you are good at making this type of experience where you can get like $1 billion every week, I'm going to be like, I don't know. That whole single player narrative story driven thing might start looking a little bit cute, might start looking a little bit unnecessary, might start looking like you don't give a fuck about that no more. You know what I mean?
So my only counter to that is the games wouldn't just be on PlayStation though. It would be on Nintendo, and it would be on PC. So I would look at it. I personally look at it more like. CD Projekt Red. They were originally PC centric developer with The Witcher. Then they decided to put it on console, and they got more success. But they didn't really change who they are. They just put the games more on more platforms, right? So
except The Witcher 3 and Night City, what was it, Cyberpunk? They are far less of RPGs than The Witchers 1 and 2 were. So they have changed.
Okay.
There are way more action games than there are proper RPGs. Like, look at Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is a proper RPG. It's like, yeah, you get to make decisions, you get to play this character, you get to play this style. The Witcher was way more of an action adventure with RPG elements. It was way more closer to God of War. So The Witcher 3 was way closer to a God of War than it was to The Witcher 1. And then take a look at the Mass Effect 1, which was again a super PC centric proper RPG. Mass Effect 2 got rid of a lot of the RPG elements, became hugely successful, and then Mass Effect 3 is probably pretty much an action adventure game. Like, it just, again, the more you flirt with consoles,
Mass Effect was I see where you put attention.
Yeah, so the more you flirt with consoles and the more successful you are over there, the more you pull away from your identity that first put you on the map. So this is what I mean, like, it's a natural thing to happen. Like, imagine if you started a business and, let's say that you start, I don't know, let's say a photography business. And then you realize that you are way more successful when you shoot video your business is going to evolve into a video-centric business. So my thing is, if
Kind of like
Xbox
Sony as a
is,
company.
yeah, exactly.
Once
If Xbox
PlayStation
is,
outclassed TVs and radios, Sony went more from a movie, TV centric entertainment. Now
a
gaming,
gaming
even though they
centric,
yeah,
exactly.
their biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, no, so it's like
Interesting.
this pool happens naturally. So if Xbox again creates a PlayStation centric, like really PlayStation centric experience, and then they get the sales. Like imagine they create, I don't know, let's make up a game name. Let's call it Sunfall. They create Sunfall 1. It's closer to what Xbox has, and everything, but it's got some of that PlayStation, good cinematics, good cutscenes in it. And got a little bit of jank, whatever. It's got that Bethesda magic in there, got that 343 touch, whatever. It is what it is. But it sells decent. It sells 5 million copies on PlayStation. Cool. Sunfall 2. Now it improves a tremendous amount of things, but they up the cinematic quality way to PlayStation standards. That just says 20 million copies on PlayStation. Sunfall 3, what do you think that's going to be? It's going to be like, okay, this is good. It may as well have a PlayStation Studio splash screen on it, But then when they realize, wait, we can make this formula happen, guess what the next games are going to be? 5-6 years down the line, all of Xbox Studios will be flooded with that type of game. So if you really care about the identity of Xbox, then you shouldn't want them to flirt with the PlayStation community, because we are naturally going to pull them to our gravity. We're not going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to come towards you. They're going to have to come towards us. So again, if you don't care about the Xbox identity though, you're just like, oh, I don't care, whichever way. It is fine, but I'm just saying there is a reason as to why you don't want it to happen, because it will affect you in the future.
Okay, that's interesting. Great look. All right, that's pretty interesting. I'll tell you, 2024 is going to be an interesting year. More than just games. It's just, I think we're going to get a better, deeper, closer look on projected forward, especially with Microsoft. I think Sony, I think the rest of Sony is pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
They got the Pro, right? We'll see how that turns out. We're going to see more speculations. That's going to, and as the closer the Pro launch gets, the more speculation is just going to, when you see shit get out of hand, that's when you know it's coming, right? Because that's always the trend. The closer it is, the more ridiculous the things are, right? And then it's going to launch. We're going to see specs and performance. And then one or two things are going to happen. It's either going to be disappointing because it's bland or not good enough, or people are going to be impressed, right?
Yeah.
So we got that perspective. And then obviously, eventually, we're going to see more games announcements on both sides, right? But I think the wild card is two things. One, Nintendo. Do they launch a new Switch next year, or is it a 2025 thing? So that's going to be a huge wild card, because with the new Switch 2, did they at least create something that's, let's say, in between a Series S and a Series X? Somewhere in the middle, right? And if they did that, then that means you have a proper console. You have a console that could technically get all the third-party games. Because if you can make it for the Series S, then you can most certainly make it for the Switch 2. But I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic. And then finally, will we see more of Microsoft's game plan? Because if they're going to do a third-party strategy, and I know we use third-party, right? And it does have like a negative tone, because by using the word third-party, that means you're losing your first-party identity, whatever. But I'm using the term third-party just simply saying they're going to want to put games on Nintendo and PlayStation. If Microsoft is going to do that strategy, they're not going to wait 4 or 5 years to do it, right? They're not going to wait till 2029 to do it, right? Because why are you going to wait that long? It's going to be sooner than we think, because they want to take advantage of what's going on now. They don't want to wait till next year and all new consoles are starting over to finally say, hey, we're going to put games finally on PlayStation that pretty much are starting over. They're going to want to take advantage of this growing fan base of PlayStation 5, and they most definitely want to be there with the launch of the Switch 2. Maybe the Switch 1, because of its power, is too weak, so they really can't take advantage of it. But if the Switch 2 is more powerful than the Series S, Microsoft will be like, we can definitely take advantage of this power, because it's better than the Series S. Maybe not as good as the Series X, but this is good enough. Because if we could put out games on the Series S, we most definitely could put out games on the Switch 2. And we want to take advantage of this hype and momentum that Nintendo's about to establish. So the next 2 years, 2024 is going to be interesting. 2025 is most definitely going to be interesting, but that's a conversation for a whole new year from now.
Yep.
Anyway, besides that, hey, I want to appreciate you taking the time. What time is it over there?
It's 3:30. Pretty much
3:30?
just over.
Oh, so it's already, what, Saturday for you? Or
Sunday.
Sunday. It was a Sunday for you. Okay. It's a Saturday for me.
Yep.
Anyway, brother. Hey, let people know. Put your channel link in the chat.
Before we go,
Uh-oh.
have you played that Valhalla? Have you played that
Not
Valhalla?
yet. Not yet. Because right now, what I'm doing right now is I'm finishing up Crisis Core. Then
Yep.
after Crisis Core, I was planning to do Echoes, the Final Fantasy 16 DLC, but I might swap it. I might do the Valhalla DLC first, and then the Final Fantasy 16 DLC. And I gotta try to do this before the 25th, all of it before the 25th, because the 25th I got the VR, but I'm not allowed to open it until the 25th, Christmas. And once I
you got
open
the
that
VR
sucker,
too?
yeah, I got the PSVR 2, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be gaming.
That's what I'm saying. But I gotta do it
You
before
can
the
be
PSVR,
gaming.
because once I have the PSVR 2 out, all this regular shit is gonna be put on hold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be rocking that VR 2 so hard, and that shit's gonna be put on hold. So I cannot wait, So I gotta take advantage of these. We got 9 more days till Christmas.
Okay.
So over the next 9 days, I gotta finish Crisis Core, do Valhalla, do Final Fantasy, and then jump right in. And then I still got homework because I'm 3 classes away from my bachelor's. So
Hey,
Jesus
congrats
Christ.
on that. But my thing is this: seeing your timeline, and I will never want to tell you how to spend your time, but I think you should leave Final Fantasy 16 till later. No, my only reason for this is you may as well wait, because I don't think that timeline works. I think there's just too many things you're trying to cram in the 9 days. I think you should leave it for later, because then you will have the 2 expansions. Like, pick it up when the 2 expansions are both out. That way you don't have to relearn the game and then relearn it again after a while. Like, you can just pick it up all together, the whole complete package, and then you can just dive into Final Fantasy, and then you will have
but I
had the
fucked
Final
up.
Fantasy 7. What?
Because I bought it the day it came out, before of the double
Yeah,
pack.
I mean, listen, it's fine. You can just take that as a teachable moment. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm like, fuck.
Right. Yeah, because Valhalla is boy, it is worth stopping whatever you're doing like right now. But I'll let you finish your game that you're finishing now. People don't put any spoilers in the chat, but it is amazing, and I know you love Returnal, and so that is gonna be exactly in your lane.
Man, I love Returnal. I heard that they say, yo, if you love Returnal, because I got people in the DM saying, bro, you're gonna love this game, because we know you love Returnal, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Exactly, man. This game. This I mean, block every single word. This is one of those things where you need to mute every single word in on Twitter there, because people are just doing spoilers. The thumbnails on YouTube are spoilers, so it's gonna be hard for you to like keep that away, like the surprises away from you. I'm pretty sure you've probably already seen things where you're like, oh, okay, that happens.
Things. But it's not too
but,
bad. Like I'm not gonna catch a heart attack. Like so.
Yeah. But no,
like some things I've seen, I'm like, all right, that's
absolutely.
pretty cool.
And you know what? 9 days is actually about the right amount of time for to have like a really good experience in Valhalla on a challenging difficulty.
That means I have to start today.
That pretty much. That's why I say it's worth dropping everything that you're doing.
I can't drop.
Exactly.
The last time I did that was Hogwarts, and I regret it because I still haven't finished Hogwarts.
I've also
and I got like 80
Hogwarts
plus hours. Oh, and I can't wait to get back to that game, but I don't think I'll be able to.
So yeah, I say take Final Fantasy. Just put it into 2024, man. Just let 2024 be the Final Fantasy year. You can have Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. You can have, if you want, you can even do a new game plus on Final Fantasy 16. Then do the DLC. Then everything like that. Just keep that over there.
I did that. I platted 16.
There you go.
I love 16. I enjoyed it.
Oh man, you platted it. That's a big deal for you.
Yes, because that doesn't happen. That's when you know I plat a game. It gets the seal of approval.
It was also platinum number 8 or something. Like,
oh no, I got a little bit more than that.
You got a little bit more.
I got like, it's in the teens, I think, like 13, 14, 15.
Cool. You're in your teenage years. It's
a little shine. My balls dropped.
There's got some acne going on, through puberty.
My balls dropped. My voice got deepened.
Yeah. He doesn't know if he likes achievements yet. It's just like, achievements. That's a completely different world.
I'm going into my own when it comes to platinum. Man. Anyway,
There you go. There you go.
Hey,
But yeah,
to
no,
everybody,
go ahead.
hey, wherever you at around the world, thank you so much for chatting and rocking out with us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I'm glad I did this live because I get to have more conversation with Extreme. For those of you that are here and haven't hit the like button on your way out, please hit the like button. And then we'll catch you Tuesday, 60 frames, no lag, with the crew, with the full army. We'll see what other craziness happens until then. But, hey, you guys have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Just, hey, I hope you guys enjoying your weekend and have enjoyed your weekend and enjoy gaming. You guys take care. Peace.